Crank up the music. Keep an eye on the back.
This presentation is provided to you to amuse or entertain and not to conform or inform. The content on this channel should not be used to replace professional, financial, medical, or legal advice. All footage taken and used from public sources falls under the fair use of the Digital Millennial Copyright Act of 1998. Therefore, no breach of privacy or copyright has been committed.
The scientific community decided it no longer needed God. So they picked one scientist, and he went up to God and he said, "We've decided now, since we can manipulate atoms and molecules and clone humans, we no longer need you." To which God said, "All right, I hear you, but let's do one thing first. Let's prove it. Let's both make a man the way I did with Adam." So God reaches down, picks up some dirt, creates a man, breathes life into it. To which the scientist then reaches down, picks up some dirt, and God stops him and says, "Hang on a second, use your own dirt."
Satellite track.
Wow. Wow, she didn't say it. Satellite tracking continues. Jeez. You know, you barely pay any of your talent. Well, you don't pay any of it. You expect more out of them. Satellite tracking continues. Hi, everybody. It's the Friday Night Healing Fan Man Show with your host, me. Why are you guys here? It just shocks me every week. I know there's this.
I got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go.
That's kind of why I'm here too. No. And some nights I get so nervous, like I never know what to do. Like my wife made me this. It's a coffee. It's beautiful. There's no alcohol or anything, just coffee. But then this is an iced tea. So it's like I've really confused my system. I'm drinking both. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I tell everybody I'm an experiment. This is an experimental phase I'm going through. And so I'm not doing all the things that, you should do. All this, my hair. All the stuff that the government tells you to do, make sure you do it. I am trying to be a control group and take this for you. And so that way you guys and gals and couches don't have to experience everything that I'm going through. I'm doing this. I'm taking this for the team.
That's very true.
So how's everyone doing? Quite an eventful month. And it used to be like we'd go, wow, that was an eventful year. Now we just count, wow, that was an eventful month. And now it's down to like, wow, that was a wild week. And then now it's kind of down to, wow, that was the last couple of crazy days. And so I definitely want to say, as we start this show and people are rumbling in, Melanie, keep track of whoever's late at this point, please. But I do want to say our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers, and they mean something on this channel. They definitely teach you that. They all go out to everyone that's experiencing the horrors, not just, around the world, but right now, specifically with the wreckage that Ian is causing. I know there's a lot of people that are listening to me that are either in the path or have loved ones in the path. And so I just, all of us here gathered today, may God watch over everyone that's caught up in the path of this terrible plague that's hitting us. And may God watch over all of us, and through his grace and his mercy, keep us all safe and our loved ones in the name of Jesus. Amen. So, so that's going on. That's pretty terrifying. And I know there's people in the chat, and I saw the TJ's here. I'm glad she's doing good. And and there's Finn. Finn's late. Okay.
I don't feel dirty.
He's down. I have a family down in Florida too, but it's quite a mess down there. And then South Carolina too. And there's obviously a lot of people that are in these chats and stuff that have friends or family or in South Carolina themselves. So our prayers going out for everything that's going on there. So, but what we're going to try to do is, for those of us that are able to watch this, that have power still, or maybe at a later date, when you're I don't know, trying to clean up from the mess. Maybe you'll have some time and we'll do maybe some things to make you laugh here a little bit. So that's what I'm here for. I'm not sure that there's any other reason. I go through this every week. It's funny. I have the greatest time with you all. And then the weekend comes and goes. And then I'm doing things around the farm here. And then by Wednesday, I have to say, oh my God, I've got to get all these things that I've been saving up for the last week and start sitting down and working on them. And that's when I start whining, pissing and moaning, maybe my wife would say, about the having to do this burden. And so, but I get through it. And then we end up here and that song kicks in and here we are. And we're going to have a great show. And we'll talk about some stuff. I kind of like to pick a topic and sort of cover it. I haven't done it in a while, I've had a lot of wonderful guests on the show, and so tonight it'll just be one of those intimate nights, just with me. Silly fun, man. Oh, so that's what we're doing. Oh, DJ's just got her power. That's fantastic. Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. And let's see what's else. Oh, Aaron is here. Hey, Aaron. I don't know if you can read this. Aaron can read this. Most people can't. Yeah, there you go, Aaron. So she understands that. I saw the cow here, Moo, and let's see who else is here. Let's see. Oh, Rethink, you just missed. Oh, let's see. You're just you're giving us the play-by-play. But it's good to see you, man. And you're not sure how long you're here. Well, none of us are, Justine, right? None of us are. God says you can't plan for, the next day is not promised. So I'm with you, sister. I don't know how long I'll be here either, but I'm glad you're here now. So, all right. Stephanie, and as far as blues and not being blue, I took a bunch away. I put a bunch back. I ran out of time. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Forget the things. It's a lot of time to sit down and go through all the chats and try to figure out who. I don't know of an easy way of doing it, so just enjoy it. We'll just have fun. And if it bothers you and really you need to, write me. You know where I am. I'm not hidden. The description, the email, stealingfanman2020@gmail.com. Talk to me there. And if you find that you've been entertained, as they say, I have links in there for PayPal, Cash App, and all that's appreciated. And there's also stuff if you want to buy things. So anyways, back to what we were discussing. I was just kind of saying hi. Daryl wants blue. All right, like I said, let me work on this stuff, sir. Okay. And let's see. And who else is here? Lukey. That's a funny one. Lukey. Nice to see you. So, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen you either. So, Lashana Tova to you also, sir. Yeah, it's a new year. So, and let's see. And, you want to see Joy? Joy just wants to jump right into scary space news. Like there's an order to the show, right? You can't just, if I just snap at your fingers and okay, fine, let's go there. Let's see, where is it? Clickety click. Let's see. Okay.
This week in scary space news.
This will be good because Finn's still awake. A lot of times he falls asleep early, so he likes when I cover scary space news too. All right, so let's see. What should we do in scary space news for Joy? Okay, let's see. We had a couple things I wanted to go through. Let's see. Well, these pictures are over here. Let's go over here. And we'll start here. Okay. So let's see. Clickety click. Got this. There it is. Okay. Oops. Well, we can start here anyways. All right. It's not quite scary space news. Although he was an astronaut that went back into time or back in time. And he met up with, what was that guy from Taxi? And they had to drive fast. And anyways, I think they've discovered he's the reason to blame. Can you guys see that? He's the reason. So what does this have to do with scary space news? Absolutely nothing. It's Ceiling Fan Man Unhinged, okay? I have no guest. I have probably 75 tabs. I've got 2 different types of drinks, non-alcoholic. I've got some pipes and stuff. I'm here for the long haul. Okay, so no, nothing to do with scary space news there. Oh, this is kind of. Someone sent me this. I absolutely love it. And that could actually, I've seen Sarah come close to that. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on her because I'm actually afraid, that could be something. I mean, I'd hate to have to come to you one night and say she created a black hole. That would not be good for my viewer count, most likely. All right, the coffee's gone. Now we're going to the iced tea. I'm going to be wired by the end of this show, I'll tell you that. Okay, let's see. Move that here and that there. Okay, what's next? Okay, and of course there's this. Can't get any scarier than that. Come on, people. There's got to be a way that we can wake people up to this. It'll happen, but it's a slow process, and it's also very, I love this one. I just always throw this in here so we can take a really good look in high definition at the wonderful craftsmanship of this science project, where the paper mache doesn't even, it has separation and holes in it, and the curtain rods look great. All the tinfoil's wonderful. Absolutely no dust whatsoever. They must have swept it out. No blast crater of any kind when it came down. So, these are some great pictures. I'm really loving what you're doing here, NASA. And what's next? That's kind of scary space news. Yeah, by the way, just so you remember, the reason we still haven't gone back to the moon in the Artemis shot, the most giantest, rocketest, biggestest, most expensivest rocketest, is because, see, we lost all the telemetry data. We've destroyed it, and it's a painful process to recreate it. Apparently, costly, obviously, to the taxpayer. And then, of course, they lost taped over all of the moon landing actual footage and stuff. The single most greatest feat in mankind. But we needed the space for something else. And, so hopefully, let's see, can you hear the sound? If not, I can narrate. Let's see, sound on. Let's see. Okay, I think I hear it. So, if you all didn't know, for Rosh Hashanah, NASA decided to shoot a satellite, of course, missile kind of thing into an asteroid. Bruce Willis, well, he's busy. We're going to talk about him in a second. Put a pin in him, everyone, okay? We'll talk about Bruce Willis again. And so what we did is we shot this thing in there. And so I recorded because I couldn't believe my eyes. I put it on my phone here, and 56,000 people were watching it live. And so that went on for like 35 minutes. Well, no, I don't know how long it went on for. I quit watching it. We'll go over that. How I get out of this screen share thing. Let's see. How about the escape button? Is that it? Okay, that did it. Okay. So I don't know how long that thing went on. And literally when I saw it, that was all it was. It was a white dot and a black screen. There was no sound even. At least with the OJ chase that went on all night, you were watching a car and there was commentary, right? They made it sound exciting. They even took, I think the basketball finals were going, and because I lived in, California at the time, so it was a big deal. And they took the OJ, it literally was just a truck driving on the highway with cops behind it, at least I don't know, 10 cars lengths difference. And it was a slow car chase. It was going at 30 miles an hour. And it was very reminiscent of that movie, Blazing Saddles. I was just talking to Finn about this the other day. It's because OJ was supposedly in the backseat of the car with a gun to his own head, threatening to shoot himself. And everyone's like, all right, I think he means it, back off. And that's literally right out of that Mel Brooks movie. And so, why am I talking about this? Wait, we were discussing something completely different. And we started talking about OJ. Okay, chat, where are you? Help me out here. What were we talking about? Too many police on the scene. Yeah, I never believed that garbage. Yeah, we live. All right, where are we? Yeah, blazing saddles. All right, come on. We don't need no stinking badges. All right, come on, people. What was we talking about before that? Scary space. Oh, yes, we were in space. Bruce Willis asteroids. Okay, so wow, how did we get to that? But in any case, so they had this. Let's see. We were discussing that scene because stuff was happening. Anyways, here, let me show you what happened when the dart thing hit the. I'll come back to that in my head. You think this stuff is scripted, but it's not. I just do this. I go along, wing it, and it's that one. Clickety click. Here we go. And so here's this. And they slammed in an asteroid to alter its orbit. Okay. So like in the Bruce Willis movie, you know, spoiler alert, he stays there and blows it up. But in this one, all we did was just like bounce off of it. And all you get is, once again, a control room that we don't know where this is. A bunch of people just excited.
What?
A spacecraft intentionally crashed into an asteroid on September 26th.
Oh, wow.
And then you get people cheering.
As part of a roughly $325 million mission.
$325 million.
Right.
The collision.
And so you can watch it. And the thing is there's no other stars or galaxies. It's just these two dots. Boom, that's it. That's the entire video. So, and before that, it was hours of just watching a white dot get closer, I'm assuming. And so that's all you get for, what was it, $325 million. It's to the point where they don't even have to try to fake it anymore because everyone's asleep at the wheel. It's madness to me. That's why it's sometimes frustrating to try to explain this, because I was on the other side of this, and I know that if you don't see it, you just don't see it. But it's getting, hopefully, like excruciating obvious when you find videos like this, where they're showing you them releasing. Let's see. That one's right here. Here it goes. So that detaches. There's a rocket booster and there's a module capsule. Now I know you can say, well, they have to test these things, but they're definitely, this is how they drop them. So, however, I know that they do show that, you know, I'm telling you that they're also doing this. There's proof. And then there's this.
And now scientists have made some incredible new discoveries about the planet Uranus.
And didn't we all have a laugh at that when we were kids? And then they tried for a while to change it to Uranus, which that doesn't, I mean, how's that any better, Uranus?
They found out exactly how the planet's magnetic field works, revealing that Uranus opens and closes.
So now they're telling us that our Uranus opens and closes. They just mock us. They stick Uranus right in our faces, don't they?
To let out solar wind.
And it lets out solar wind. Come on. And she's even laughing as she says it herself. Come on.
And astronomers say the process does occur every day.
Oh, and it happens every day, and probably mostly after Mexican food.
The data was recorded in 1986 by the Voyager 2 spacecraft, but only recently.
And I apologize to my Hispanic Americans. I actually had Mexican food tonight. So who knows? This might happen.
And grown-ups. We'll talk about Uranus.
You, my friend, are a professional.
Yeah, see, they all start. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's right in your face. Uranus, it's in your face. Yeah, Taco Tuesday. Yeah, Uranus passes wind, Mesa Mouth. Isn't that great? Solar wind comes out of Uranus that opens and closes. And that's science. And I'm the one that they're mocking. They mock me. I'm just repeating what they're saying. It's like we're arguing with the 10-year-old. He just makes up shit as he goes along. It's so ridiculous. Hey, David Wolf. Okay, what's next? Now, this one, just think of the song, The World is a Lie. You know, that reggae song? So I thought this was a great visual. So we have to believe this is happening on the spinning ball. Somewhere right now, someone watching me, this is how they're living in my world, right? If I'm on the other side and say someone's listening to me from Australia, this has to be how it is right now, correct? I mean, how else do you explain their theory? And I'm only laughing, not that I'm laughing at people that believe it. I'm laughing at how many years I bought into it. I'm 56, man. I just started figuring this shit out like last few years. It's shocking to me how easy it is to be deceived by this. But who's believing there's balloons flying upside down? I mean, it's wild. It's madness. And, but hey, like I said, I'm not mocking anybody that's not seeing it this way. I have loved ones and friends that probably think I've lost my mind because I talk about this stuff. I'm just saying, the more I look into it, the more they can't prove where we live. They can't. They've never once taken that one picture from space to shut us all up. It seems so simple, and they won't do it. Or turn the camera 360 to show you that there's no fourth wall or whatever. How about this? In 1969, you were told that we used a radio transmitter that could go 239,000 miles to make a live call to the moon. And now the most powerful radio transmitter located in Hungary, the farthest it can reach is 4,580 miles. Okay, so what do I do on this show? Well, of course, I always check Wikipedia. That's where you go. But I also check several sources to see how close this is, because that's very interesting, because I know that is a weird thing that we were able to make that phone call from the moon in 1969 to the White House. And so I went and looked into this. So let's look into it. So I found some different transmitters over in Hungary. There's the transmitter Salt, and it says that it's the most powerful radio transmitter in Europe and one of the most powerful ones in the world. And it goes on and on and on. And where does it say? It says somewhere here that well, they talk about how far it goes, and I don't see it on this article. But it does say that they've actually someone in Michigan heard from it, and this is in Hungary. I'm not sure where I'm not finding it right now on here. Unless it's up here. Did I miss it? Oh, here we go. Da-da-da. Okay, so it was reported as far as Michigan. All right, so, well, that's an interesting little thing there. We'll get into those things later. Okay, so Michigan from Hungary is about 7,482, so we're still pretty close to what that person was saying. So then I went farther than that, and there's another radio tower. This one's the world's tallest cigar shaped, and let's see, how many people have been here? 33. Nice. And was built in 1933 in Steichel-Metelikovsk, Hungary. And anyways, keep going through it, and it's not getting much farther, as far as what you see, how far it can go. So I went past that, and I started looking into the long-wave transmitters, and 370 acres. Once again, there's all kinds of numbers here. Nothing coming anywhere close to 249,000 miles. Like, we're not even in the ballpark. Like, not even close. If 249,000 miles, we're like an inch off the ground is what I'm finding, right? And so then I looked into how far does the new stuff go. same thing. It's very limited. It definitely can't go to the moon. And so, again, you can, I'm not going to bore you with all the stuff that I went through, but you can do all this yourself and look through how far these go. And when you come down to it, I found out that they had their own special radio waves that no one else is allowed to use except NASA and space program. It's only for countries to talk in space, and no one else is allowed to use it. So there. Once again, the answer is it's the first time in history kind of thing, you know? It's just like when we toured the Ape Caves, which I found out because I went boots on the ground with Jen, the Truth Seeker 69, and my wife, Mrs. CFM, and we've actually found red bricks. This one's got stuck in someone's shoe. That's the only reason it's here. In this volcano, proving her theory. There was nothing alive in it. It was completely dead. They wanted us to like worry about the bats. And then when you read about it, there's never been bats in there. Nothing lives in that cave. It's not even connected to the volcano. It's 2 hours away, and there was no connection to it whatsoever. And everything we saw looked more like it was some kind of tunnel or a building of some kind than it was a lava tube at all. Because the whole science on a lava tube doesn't make sense to me. The fact that it can cool fast enough and then start cooling from the top down, so that way you end up with a straw that is like hollow, when every other time in history it doesn't ever do that. In fact, the only time it's ever done that on the Ape Caves was once in 300,000 years. How do we even know this stuff? Because somebody wrote it in a history book, and there you are. But you walk in there and you got to wash your hands and wash your feet and do all this stuff to not hurt the bats that don't live there, and they admit have never lived there. They found one dead bat, and it was hours away on a road. It had white stuff on its nose like it had stayed at Scarface house, and they decided that us walking through the caves is killing the bats, and so they have all these rules for people to walk through these caves. But this, like I said, they admit has never had bats in the history that's been there that they found it. There was actually no life whatsoever in this thing. And then in addition to that, one of the ways they're trying to save the bats, wait for it, the snake eats its own tail, of course, they're injecting them with stuff to try to save them. Sound familiar? Anyways, where were we? We were on the moon. See, you think scary space news. Real, the world space, the world news is the scary news. Yeah. The clown show going on here. So yeah, nobody's allowed to use this. And what else do we have? So that's it. Let me get out of the screech here and see what you guys are thinking. Went on a little bit of a rant there, peeps. How's everyone doing? Yeah, you went through that with me. We went through the Ape Caves with Jen. Yeah, and there's nothing there. Nothing. In fact, after a while, we were the only living things there, and that was touch and go for a while. So, all right, where are we? Let's see. We covered that. Let's see. We'll come over here. Okay, we have that to do with that. Let's go into, and that was not working. It's funny when I have these tabs all ready to go, and then you come up here and you click on them, and it's been removed due to some violation of Twitter or whatever. So, but we will start. I know we can start with. Well, let's see. Okay. Where are we at? The Ape Caves got you digging into some stuff. That's cool. And supposedly they call it the Ape Caves, not because of apes that live in there. No, because that when they found them, there was a scout troop that ran through it, and they were the apes, something, Northwest Apes or something like that, and that's where they got their name. But man, yeah, there's nothing in it that seemed connected to a volcano or anything. Oh, that's funny, DJ. I just answered the question that you just asked. That's funny. That's fantastic. So, and yeah, it was kind of, I don't know. It was weird down there. So, okay, everybody needs Mason knows help her out, him, whoever out looks like him. Mesa melt, poison ivy on the skin. Everyone give your information there. I'm not a doctor. Follow CDC and the government, but the people in the chat will help you out. So they know their stuff. So, and I love this show and everyone in chat too. It's a fun show. You guys and gals make it fun. So, where is she streaming these days? Well, she's here now, so she'll throw her link in there. But she's doing great work, mostly because of me. No, she's doing some great things. In fact, I was going to comment on something. Where is it? Let's go into here. Well, here I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. The reason that the show I wanted to talk about gold was getting the library back here in shape, and come across a bunch of things. And I came across this magazine on gold, and it's one of those things that I've just had forever. And it's from 1975, but this printing I think is 1980. And so it's just one of those books I don't even know how it came in my possession, but I decided to sit down and read it. And it's pretty interesting because some of the things that it discusses, it seems to connect to what I've been discussing lately a lot with Jen on her show, is that I believe that, well, first of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you want to know what I do, you can watch my progression as it goes through. The videos that are still allowed to be up are up. But I just woke up to a lot of the lies of the world, decided to turn my camera around and start talking about it. And along the way, I found the spirituality, not a religion, but I found my spirituality, that God exists. And so I talk about that and try to help other people see the things that are working, the blessings that I'm achieving, and trying to help others find their full potential too. And that's the way I see this show. And so having said that, I truly believe, it's not in front of me, it's over there, I can't reach it right now, but I truly believe that that the Bible is a guidebook. It shows things that have happened in our past, that I've watched videos and read enough research to say that I believe. It shows things that have happened in real life in the past. It constantly is bringing up things that I see happening right in front of me. And then it also has some pretty amazing predictions that keep coming true. And so that's why I look at it for things that might happen in the future. And the way I see it is this. There's a different ways of looking at where we are in the book. And for a long time, when I started understanding that this is what was happening, I was thinking that we're heading towards the end of the book, which is Jesus coming back in Revelation and all that. Over the last however many months, my opinion has turned into where I believe that we're now beyond that. I think what happened is, again, all of these are my projections. I could be completely wrong, because on this show,
there are no experts.
Plus, I get some drink later. what I believe now is I've seen quite a bit of evidence that leads me to believe that, and there's scripture to back it up, because I think it's in Matthew where Jesus is talking to the disciples and people around. And he says, he's talking about the signs that we'll see before he comes back. And the second time he comes back, it's not peaceful. It's with a sword in his mouth, and he cleans house. And he comes back with fire and not floods. This melts everything. And so, but he says that this generation shall not pass until all these things have happened. And in the beginning, when I was reading this, I was kind of shifted towards the belief everyone gives me that he's talking about a generation in the future. Now, that could be because the Bible, a lot of times, they'll do things that are, future, present, and past kind of thing. God works in all times and all at once. And so, but the way I see it now, at least this is what I'm going with today. What is it? September 30th, 2022, or so they say. And the way I see it now is that he did that because he's talking to a room of people. Like if I was talking to everyone in this room right now and said, hey, all this stuff's going to happen before everyone here, or no, before this generation, I'm talking to a bunch of people in the room. Why couldn't I be talking to those people right there in that room? That makes perfect sense to me. And he tells them that I'm coming back and it's going to be fury this time, and get prepared. And he's letting everyone know. And so what I feel happened at some point is that he did. And it's talked about in different scriptures, including you can find evidence of it in the Quran and things, where they say that God leaves a portion of the buildings, probably a third, as evidence so that we would never do this again. Because see, like every time we forget who he is and we get enslaved and we cry out and he rescues us, then we forget again. And that's why the Bible, a lot of the stories are so we don't have to go through them. Is if we learn from the people that had to struggle and go through them and read it and go, okay, I'll do my best to avoid that. Well, that's what it's there for. And so the way I see the situation that they were in is, if that happened, there would have been 1,000-year reign of Christ. And so I don't quite understand, none of us do, how a civilization, let's see, do I have this here? It's on this one, I think. Where is it? Is it that one? No. Hang on a second. I guess I didn't pull it on this one. Sorry, everyone. No, here it is. This is good. That'll work. I don't understand how we can believe that a civilization that was so primitive, as they say, whatever, donkeys, giant horses, they're building these things. And some of these buildings are still in existence. Chapu sent me this because it's an old etching. And but some of these buildings are gone and some of them are still there. And what I see on these things is Antiquitect, as Jen would say. These things lit up, and you can find examples where all this stuff lights up. And it's not because there's thousands of light bulbs. They had a way of grabbing energy, Tesla style, out of the sky. Look at these things. They're not for decoration. I mean, they are decorative, but they have a reason. They always have the ball and all this stuff going on. And so we're led to believe that this antique race of people, that they didn't even put bathrooms in these things. We'll look into some of these buildings and see how many years it took for them to actually get plumbing in these things. these monstrous buildings that have thousands of rooms or whatever they have, and no plumbing. Now, how about this scenario? What if, I don't know who built these buildings, but I'm certain if you had Christ on earth, you could do some amazing things. But if you had glorified bodies, because when he comes back after he cleans house in Revelation, the people that are there come back in glorified bodies, and the people that are still alive get changed into them. Well, to me, a glorified body would maybe be a body that you wouldn't need to, poop or pee or eat. And so you wouldn't need all the different comforts that we would need in the buildings we have now. It's not that they didn't have ways of getting water here. These things had gigantic, not this particular one, but a lot of these buildings had giant fountains and waterways and things. So it's not like they couldn't get plumbing going. But a lot of these things didn't have plumbing, or at least for many, many years. And we're told to believe that some of these giant buildings that they would like crap in a bucket and dump it outside in the moat. That doesn't make any sense. It would smell so bad. None of it makes sense. The history books have lied to us. And there's now one company basically that's writing all the new ones. And they're rewriting it right in front of our eyes. We've covered it on this show. Go look up Paul Revere. He never even made the midnight ride anymore. He gets arrested or captured and they take his horse. So they're rewriting it right in front of us. They took down all the statues. And the next generation of children are going to have a completely different history, just like we did. I think we were some of the, if not all, our ancestors were the orphan trains. And who knows where all those orphans came from. But yeah. So, where are we at? We're still doing scary space news? I think we covered that. Okay, so where we are in the book. Okay. So you've got, somehow you build these buildings. Now, there's 1,000 years of our history that's just gone, right? And I've shown it, and other people, you can look for yourself. There's a lot of coins and things out there that it looks like it says the year, say, 1800, and it's an I or a J, and then 800. And so theoretically, I don't know how he does it, but Satan's allowed, look through the Bible, it talks about he's allowed to change times and dates and things. That's where the Mandela effect, I believe, comes in effect. And so what happens is, so after Jesus has his 1,000-year reign, then I used to think they take off, but now as I'm reading the scriptures, they don't. There's somewhere that we're not allowed to go. That's why that UN map that everyone's looking at, thinking that's the flat earth map, it's not right. I mean, I don't know how close it is, but it's not right. There's no way they would hide the actual map of the earth and then throw it on a UN map right in our face. There's more land that we don't know about. The Bible doesn't talk about an ice wall anywhere that I remember reading. And so the only person that gave me the ice wall was Admiral Byrd and the other side. So I don't know what the map is. It might be closer to what we see on the moon. Who knows? That would make more sense, wouldn't it? If God's like, hey, you want to know where you live? Just look up. Because he says we don't look up, right? They say usually only children and dogs look up. So, and now with these things, everyone's looking down anyways. But the way I see it is this. They are somewhere else, but they're still here. And that actually gave me some peace too. Because you think we're in bad times or at least unusual times. How about that? And potentially could get worse. So it kind of sucks thinking that, everyone's not here right now, but that's not the case. So apparently Jesus and the saints are still here somewhere that we're not allowed to go to, because as you read Revelation, it talks about where there's the war of Gog, Magog, that kind of stuff, but it talks about where everyone assembles around the saints to destroy them once and for all. And that's when God stops everything. Well, so they have to be somewhere for everyone to assemble around them. They can't be in heaven because, you can't do back and forth. Angels can, but we can't, kind of thing. And so, so they're somewhere here. I don't know where. Again, this is all speculation on my part, because I'm not an expert. Where is he?
There are no experts.
And besides that, I know nothing.
I know nothing. Nothing.
Okay. So, but let's just go with it. And so now, if we've got, if we've got the situation where Jesus takes off, then what happens? Then you end up with what I used to be thought was called SOS, the short season of Satan. But now it's called the little season
Pizza.
of Satan. The little season
Pizza.
of Satan. I don't know why that makes me laugh. But, and so what does it say happens then? First of all, it doesn't give you an exact number. Second, God says nobody knows the day or the time when this all ends. Third, it says that he's going to go out and deceive the world. So basically, the people that were left that didn't make it the first time, didn't have the oil lamps ready, weren't born yet. I don't know how this all works. None of us do. But then those people, we have to go through the same kind of tribulations that our ancestors did, right? Because they went through some shit, right? Sometimes, with the whole Egypt and the Pharaoh stuff and all that. That's some crazy times. And so we're there now too. We're living in some really, really interesting times. And so these are our trials. And what do they say? That the best way to cleanse iron is through fire. And so we're here for a reason. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. And so if you're here and you're listening to the sound of my voice, you're not here by accident. And it's funny, when I first woke up to this idea, I was trying to think, well, why in the heck would I choose to be here? So it's one or the other. Like, either somehow we chose to be here, or God chose us to be here. And if that's the case, well, I can't figure out why. And that's the funny thing, is that none of us can comprehend the things that he does, and none of us can question it. There's a thing I grabbed before the show. It came out of this. I was blessed to get this this really old Bible presented to me, and it has not only amazing pictures and stuff. I'll show you some of them, but it has some stories and stuff. And where does it say here? Is it this one? Let's see. Yeah. Shoot. Not seeing that. It's just the way tonight's working, but that's okay. We'll trudge on through. We'll figure this out. Maybe I've got it in a tab and I don't remember. But so here's the way I see it. So if we are in the short season, okay, I was saying how we chose to be here, and what I've been doing is I've been going with my gut and my heart more than I ever have in my life. And so, that gut feeling, that spider sense, whatever it is, go with that, because I truly believe that we are more than we are taught. They damper us down to make us think that we're completely insignificant. And if we dare speak out like I'm doing, they marginalize us and mock us. But that's okay, because now I've come through this so far that it's at the point where, and I truly believe this. If I believe that I'm making God, my Father in heaven, the Creator, whatever you use, Yahweh, if I'm pleasing him and I'm pleasing Mrs. CFM, then I'm good. And I'll just keep doing what I do. And I'll follow my heart wherever it goes. And that's why I'm doing this show. Obviously, I'm not doing this show for fame, fortune, or friends. But I am meeting some most amazing people, like the people in these chats and the people I've met in real life. and I'm feeling the camaraderie. And it's talked about in the end days, is that everyone worries about, oh, is the Antichrist coming in the spirit of the Antichrist? And who do you think it is? And we seem to forget something, is that at the same time, the Spirit of God gets poured out. And more people find God, and more people speak out for God. And so we have to remember where our thoughts go. We have to focus on the positives and not the negatives. See, that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you constantly focusing on them. But that's not what God wants. In fact, I believe that's another reason why, the Mandela effect is to wake people up. Because one of the tricks of the enemy was that there is no like spiritual, supernatural world, as they say. And that they taught us a world that, here, let me bring this up. Let's see, clickety click. Let's see. Oops, wrong one. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? I'll cleanse the palate. Hi, everybody. Now let's get back to the show. Okay. What button is it? This one. Jeez. Amateur hour. Okay. There. God, it's like 20 clicks to get to this. But, right? We're living in a time where Satan doesn't even hide anymore, and the world still can't see him. And I think part of God trying to wake us up is through things like the Mandela effect. The other side tries to marginalize it and make us all think we're going crazy, or we're misremembering or whatever. But at the same time, there's things, I could go through a list of things with people, like, for instance, this one. Now, anybody that's in the health industry and all the 1A auditors that I watch, everyone's always yelling at them HIPAA. Nobody knows what it is or how to spell it. Because, see, it used to be the Health Insurance Portability and Privacy Act, because it was about your privacy. That's why everyone's upset when you have a camera, because they all yell HIPAA. But no, it's always been Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, because they want to know all about your business, right? Well, you got to be held accountable. They took the privacy right out of it, baby. So, oh yeah, anybody else do this? Not me. Remember, God says nobody knows the date and time. And so I hope there wasn't people that were worried about this. But if you were, here's the thing. No matter what the day or time is, if you're right with God, you're not supposed to worry. What does he say more than anything in the Bible? Fear nothing. I know, easy to preach, hard to practice. I should make that a shirt. But I struggle with this stuff too. I'm afraid for things and worry about things. I don't know how you can't, especially the more empathy you get for the world, the more your heart grows, the harder it is. That's another story God used. I never understood why he'd always harden the heart of Pharaoh. He'd throw a plague on him, and then instead of letting them go, he'd harden his heart. And I was like, I wasn't talking to God, but I was reading it going, well, come on, why didn't you let him go that time, But no, he had to go through all those plagues until finally it got so grievous that he's like, get him out of here. But then what happened? He still went after him, right? And so the whole hardening of the heart, I believe, is God's letting us know. Because don't forget, if you think you're in trouble now and you're worried about this child or that parent or whatever, if things get even crazier, regardless of where we are in the book, it can affect you on a personal, emotional level. But just remember, God loves the person that you're worried about, and he loves you too. So whatever you're experiencing, he's experiencing double. And so you go, well, yeah, but he's allowing it to happen. Okay, everything is under God's control. But at the same time, they say there's no atheists in foxholes. And as more and more people are coming out and denouncing God and his existence, he's going to have to shake up this place, because otherwise we end up worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. And he describes what he did there. And so anything that's happening, we're bringing it on as a society. Now, that doesn't mean the person listening to this right now is saying, that's not fair, I'm not doing that. You're right. It's not fair. You're not doing that. But Adam and Eve, they're the ones that started the whole thing, if you want to blame someone. But what does it matter? Like, you can't do anything about it. You exist here. Wherever you think this is where you exist. So what are you going to do about it? You pick up your ball and go home? Where are you going to go? You're going to go to space with Elon Musk? Good luck with that. So stop worrying about these people that keep saying tomorrow's doomsday. So what if it is? What if it is? You could get hit by a truck tomorrow. God bless everyone. I hope none of that happens. But any one of us, tomorrow's not promised. In fact, if you haven't already, I forget, but damn it, do it as much as you can. When you wake up in the morning, kind of look around and go, well, thanks for waking me one more day, God. Because why? It's on him. I don't care what people tell you. Here's the one truth everyone agrees on. There's the creator, and he's the only one that can create, and he's the only one that can take you out. And so if you're right with him, you have nothing to fear. That's what he says. It's not fear God. It's know who he is, and then you won't have to worry about anything, including what Mr. Bean's worried about. Okay, we covered monkeypox. We're not doing that anymore. That was a rant and a half. And remember,
don't smoke. It doesn't make you grown up. It makes you a loser.
I'm the only one that finds that funny too. Oh my gosh. What's going on, people? Got 100 people plus? Excellent. Love you all. Nice to see you. People over on Rockfin. Psyop and Psyop is there, I see. And some other people there. Nice to see you. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we're also here to observe them in their slumber. No, what I feel is, in my heart, I have this information and I need to share it to whoever wants to listen. I've never been that person that's going to beat you up and say, you're doing it wrong. You can't do it that way. Do it this way. I just present the way I feel, the things I'm looking into, and the things that are working for me. And if that resonates with you and you want to, hang out here, and sometimes we play games and things, whatever, great. And if it doesn't, I have no problem. Que sera? This is the way that works. What do I have? Oh, this guy.
I don't care.
It's one of my favorite handlers. Just love him. Okay. But isn't that something? There's another thing, how I said that. I got influenced by all these handlers, just like everybody else. And I'll tell you something, there's a time, everybody, you can't keep truthing whatever it is that you call this, right? Like sometimes the picking through the lies of the world and watching the nonsense go on. And even watching, my First Amendment auditors go out and do their thing. At some point, and you can even go outside and you can do things out there and stuff. But there's some point that your brain just says, I guess I need to go into the programming. I need to turn it off and just do nothing and just kind of chill and enjoy myself. And times like that, we find ourselves going back to looking for a fun TV show or a movie or something. And I get it. I know who they work for and I understand all the symbolisms that they're pushing and stuff. I get it. But sometimes I don't know how the rest of you do it. So I tried a movie, right? And you find everything online now. And so I watched the new Thor. And the reason I chose that was, well, first of all, if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, and you're, especially if you're a guy, I guess, because women usually don't like these movies. No offense, I'm just generalizing. I'll play the Burning Down the House. If you see this, that means I've stopped talking about it, so you can mute it or whatever. But I wanted to watch that one because I liked the last one that they had, where it was kind of reminiscent of a movie in the 80s. and he was on a planet somewhere with Jeff Goldblum and stuff, and it was just kind of comic book, over the top kind of stuff, and it was funny. It didn't take itself seriously, and so I put on the new one, and so what happens there? So in the new one, of course, his girlfriend becomes Hulk and gets his hammer. So now we have, the feminist agenda. Okay, fine, I can deal with that. But at some point, see, I have to realize, if you guys know anything about Thor or any of these gods, they're the ones that God talks about, right? That people are idolizing and praying to, and it's no bueno. So now we've come full circle. So now we're the children of the children of the children of Israel kind of thing. And here we are again. The same gods are being paraded around, and they're the heroes, right? And so I'm watching Thor, the hero, when he's actually one of the little G's. And he goes to an event where a lot of the little G's fight and argue with each other or whatever. And Russell Crowe plays Zeus, and he's just a disgusting, horrible person in this. And then there's a part where they talk about how they want to save the children and that they're not going to eat them this time because that was a dark part in their history. And then they have a war where the children are fighting. And it finally ends where Thor now has an adopted daughter. And the movie's called Thor, Love and Thunder. And I thought it was about his girlfriend and him, but it's not. The little girl is named Love. And so by the time I got done with this, it was disgusting mess of a movie. I didn't like it at all, but it's so in your face now. All these different agenda pushes that they're throwing at us. And it gets disheartening. And I understand those movies and those actors and that stuff, that's what their purpose always was, right? I just was reading a whole thing on the Dalai Lama and how he was making sure everyone got their, their thing from the government they've been handing out. And so it doesn't matter. It's a world stage and they're all actors. And so it's sad. Like, yeah, okay, you haven't seen a movie in years, but I tried, I tried. But yeah, it's all bad. And it's always, and there's gratuitous, a lot of times sex and things that, not to sound like a prude, but it's ridiculous. And I used to joke, like when I was a kid, they didn't have sex and movies and porn and all that stuff. And so either you get a National Geographic or I had one here. I wanted to show you something too. Not that though, but you get that, or you would, if you saw a movie, like when they finally had them on TV, like in the movie channels and stuff, when it first started, they would say nudity. And that usually meant you would see, a woman naked. Nowadays, it's always a man, And so just this whole thing that they're just trying to just turn everything around and upside down and stuff. And there's really no reason for that. It's always, they say it's art, why they had to like take a really, whatever was happening in the movie and then turn it into like a porn scene for 5 minutes. So it's all just part of that agenda of programming. And I get it. It's just every time I try and then you see what happens. So, but yeah. So where are we at here? Let's see. So what do we got here? What does this say? They use manatees for the formula. What did I miss? I don't know. But oh, you guys watched it? Yeah, it was terrible. And then there's that I should do the burning down the house. But let's see. We'll talk about movies some other time because they screwed up James Bond too. It's ridiculous. All right. For the people that were going la la la, where is it? I can't find it. Here. All right. So if anybody needed to mute it, you didn't miss much. Oh my goodness. Okay. So where are we at? Let's see. What are we doing? National Geographic. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to show this. Check this out. when I visited my parents' house, because they still had a bunch of them, National Geographic. And see, when you saw it, they always had a native someone somewhere on a cover, maybe his little tiny spot. That meant you got a good chance of seeing boobs. But they're always, muddy and they hung way too low. But hey, it was boobs, But I wasn't pulling that out to show you that. I was showing you this. As far as people that don't understand the Mandela effect. So, like, for instance, this is a National Geographic from February 1975. See, I have the copy. It's right here. And look at that. See that flag? Red under the blue. See that? Red under the blue. Just like I remembered it. See, because I remember the story about, the red for the blood that was shed. But that doesn't make any sense now because all American flags, it's white there. And I don't know if you knew that, Finn, if you're still watching. But so then someone needs to explain how this picture exists because flags never look like that. I don't know how this happened because most of the time, if it's a real object, it changes. But this one somehow didn't because it's a photograph of it, I guess. But this was taken, where does this say? Let's see. Upper left, right. Pioneer settlers created a colonial waterfront at Fells Point left where browsers quenched their thirst, flea market. Anyways. So, there's that. But there's also this. How do I get this off the screen? Boom. There we go. Where'd it go? This one? No, this one. Where'd he go? I don't see it now. Darn. I was on a roll too. Okay. Well, we'll just have to look for it later. Stop looking. Oh, how about this? We'll go here. I thought this was funny. For those of you that don't know, this person here, I'm not sure if am I saying it right. I never say them right. Nightsey. He's a real famous atheist for saying that God is dead. I thought this was funny because he's dead. So God said, no, you're dead. Oh, this made it just fun to me. But, we were going to cover the Tower of Babel, but that's not what I was going over. We were talking Mandela. Yeah, here is Nitsky. Look at that thing. I'd like to see him eat like ice cream. No, actually, I probably wouldn't. But in any case, get off of this. Yeah, we can go over. See, that's why I think things that are in our culture, like if God's going to try to wake you up, he's going to look for you wherever you're going to be. So he's going to go to all the areas and he'll allow them to be altered because he gives the keys to Satan in the end days here to mess with things. So it proves to me that we're in a supernatural world, that Curious George never had a tail. I also thought it was interesting when I was looking at this picture. See how he's holding the bananas? See, that's the way I remember bananas growing, pointed down like that, But bananas apparently have always grown pointing up. See, that was weird. In fact, when my dad was alive, God rest his soul, he was around this so much that before he listened to anything I had to say, this one he couldn't get past because he had seen so many bananas growing the other way. And it's talked about, again, another thing in that book, it talks about when things will be upside down like the fruit. It says that. Look it up. I'm not going to do all the research for you. But you can find thousands of different depictions of bananas going the way that we remember. And if that's not enough, what about Smokey the Bear? Smokey the Bear never had suspenders. And of course, neither did Mickey Mouse. He never had suspenders either. But Smokey the Bear was never Smokey the Bear. He's just Smokey Bear. And the other thing is he's the only thing that smelled smoky anymore. In fact, if you want to talk about something that's smoky, like say the Smoky Mountains, now there's no E. It's Smoky Mountains. And the proper English for writing something is very smoky, is with no E, like this. And if you write it with an E, you're either talking about Smokey Bear or Smokies, like in this movie, Smokey and the Bandit. That's proper English now. But if something has like smoke in your face, you drop the E. Is this resonating with anyone? Or the fact that I remember Carmen Diego having a yellow coat, not a red coat? Maybe I'm misremembering. I could be misremembering the spelling of Oscar Mayer Wiener. All of it looks wrong to me now. Now it's M-A-Y-E. It looks like Mayer. And Wiener, W-I-E-N-E-R. Anyone? Bueller? Oh, shit. I'm still on the Tower of Babel pick. Dang it. How did I do that? Son of a gun. Melanie. Okay, we'll edit this out. No one will know, and we'll do it again. And scene. God. Okay. Share screen. There. Hey. We're the monkeys. People say we monkey around with no tail. Okay. Shit. I was on such a good roll, too. All right. Curious George has no tail. Look, he's holding the bananas the way I remember them. See, but now bananas grow this way. That actually bothered my father, God rest his soul, because he was around bananas a lot when he was working in produce, and he knew the way that they grew, and so that troubled him, even if he didn't understand all the things that I used to talk about. But you can look and find all over the place line art that has the bananas growing the way I still remember them. And then you could talk about Smokey the Bear and how he has no overall suspenders. But neither does Mickey Mouse, apparently. He's never had them either. But then Smokey the Bear now has no the in it. It's only Smokey Bear. And yet if you talk about things that are smoky, like if there's smoke in your eyes, you use no E, like the Great Smoky Mountains, as you see in this freaking example that I didn't show the first time. And then you can also use Smokey with the E if you're talking about this movie or any other Smokies that are cruising up on your convoy. For frick's sake. My God, screen share. And then there's Carmen Sandiego, which I kind of remember her in a yellow coat, but who knows nowadays? I think it's a red coat. And then there's the Wiener, which to me the spelling, oh, forget it. Just look at it. It looks weird, okay? I'm getting exhausted redoing this. I think I did pretty good trying to memorize it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I need a drink of iced tea. I think I need something stronger now. Okay. What's next? Oh my gosh. How about Caesar? That looks all screwed up. And in fact, it's not just the name of the salad or the dressing. It's Julius Caesar. Everything. Caesar's Palace. It's all changed. To me, anyways. And proper English now is to have another S? Since when? Sorry, I got straight A's in English. I was a teacher's aide in English, for goodness sake. And you tell me that was... No, that's never been that way. It's ridiculous. Nor has it ever been... I watched this movie. I loved this movie as a kid, The Bridge Over the River Kwai. I actually didn't even know there was a book. There was a book called The Bridge Over the River Kwai. And the original title is Le Pont de la Rivière Kwai. Okay? But apparently the movie that I saw, not ever reading the book, was never called The Bridge Over the River Kwai. It's called The Bridge on the River Kwai. I'm telling you, there's things that you just can't tell me I'm misremembering. Sorry. I didn't know about the book. Didn't know it existed. I need some Oreos, says Tommy. Oh, my goodness. And, we'll cover that in a second. Let me take a moment here. Okay. How we doing, people? Doing all right? Okay, let me get in here and see where you're all at. All right, let's see what's going on. Yeah. She's shares is okay. You'll see her later. Hi, Mary. Yeah, he had a tail. Yeah. What is this? Yeah, rewind. Yeah. Oscar Mayer. Thank you. No, actually, it was Meyer is what I remember. That's how the kids sing it. Yeah, bananas. And I remember another N in there, too, by the way. So, Boston races. He had a tail. Oh, wait. He had a tail.
Boom, baby.
That was a long way to go for that. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not sure this whole Kiev and Kiev thing. Now they tell me that there's two different spellings depending on if you're in the country or if you're out of the country. Who knows? All I know is you're just not allowed to talk about it. I will talk about that a little bit, though. But let's see. Where are we doing? Oh, excellent. No alcohol. Yeah, the only thing I've ever right now drink anymore is I'll occasionally have a glass of my wife's mead or wine that she makes from our fruit. In fact, I've got a video that'll be coming out because we picked a bunch of grapes and turning it into wine. And so, but even then, and like, Jesus handed out wine more than anyone, but he says, you can have some, but don't get drunk. Don't do like they do, is what he says. So, but that's great. When did banana change? Well, welcome to the party, pal, right? That's what they say in Die Hard. Yeah. When did it change? Exactly. It now it's repeating letters, right? It's pretty wild. Yeah. Oh, okay. See, I got some people with my rant. Isn't that wild? That's what I'm saying. So there's so many out there now that it's impossible to deny it. So then what do we do with it? Do we freak out? Like when I first found out about this stuff, I kind of freaked out trying to figure it out, trying to see who's doing it, how they're doing it, how it's possible. But now it's like I just use it as a remembrance. When I get caught up in thinking that the world is the way that we were taught, to me, it's a reminder that no, things can shift on a molecular level that we can understand, which to me helps prove the existence of God. And so everything I see happening all comes back to that one thing, because that's what the other side is trying to prevent you from figuring out. They tell you live on a flying ball in space, insignificant with they tell you this. I don't believe I live on a cartoon ball that flies through space the way that they say on this ridiculous model. We need to all realize that we've been lied to.
Satellite tracking continues.
So, oops, what happened? There we are. Yeah. All of this is to make you feel that you're an insignificant piece of dust flying through space, when actually the world that I understand now We live in God's earth. We're protected by a firmament of some type. The bad people are also here because they fell down. Everyone's trapped in this one specific place. Now, they're trapped because it's not going to end so well. We're just marking time until things get glorious. And so they don't want you to know that God exists and that he's real and that he's not thousands of miles away or there's multiple galaxies and you exist in one of them and he's keeping track of them all. No, there's one earth. There's one God. He knows who you are. The reason he knows everything you've ever seen or done or heard or done, everything in your life, there's only two witnesses to your life, and that's yourself and God. And since he created you, he owns all those parts. He still looks through your eyes. He still hears through your ears. He still exists in you every day. He's with you all the time. That's why he says you can't hide and try to do things where no one can see what you're doing. He's there. And at the end of the day, it's not up for us to judge each other. We all are going to have to be accountable for what we've done. And so what he tries to help us with, thank you. What he tries to help us with is for us to take care of it ourselves. Make our own choices. Make the right choices that'll help us prosper and everyone around us. See, I've talked about it many times. You can break down the Bible very easily. It's to know God exists and love God. That's easy once you find him. To love yourself because you're made in God's image. And that's another thing the society tries to do. Tries to make us all hate our own image. And the next thing is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Because if you want someone to succeed, truly because of the joy that you feel watching them succeed, well, then that's what they're going to want to do for you. And that's the teachings. That's it. It's hard to do when there's wickedness in the world. That's our trials and tribulations. One of the hardest things that Jesus teaches isn't how to preach the gospels or to turn water into wine and stuff. Not that I can do any of that stuff, but it's to turn the other cheek. It's to know that someone's doing evil or wicked on you and to not judge them, to pray for them and to pray that they turn around and then walk with you. That's really the hardest thing because sometimes, man, the world out there gets really nuts. And, God says that if you want to follow Jesus, it's not going to go easy. Because Jesus says, if you want to follow me, pick up your cross, which was a torture device in his day, and then follow him. So it's not an easy walk. But once God changes your heart, it changes you inside, and you can't do anything else. At least that's the way I see it. Where is he?
That's very true.
So, if we are in the short season, God's still here. Everything is under his control. And so that's why, like I said, you can still have worries and strife in your life. We all do. But like the fear of death, the fear of whatever's coming our way from the powers that be. He just wants you to just like relax and say, at the end of the day, I know who you are. I got you. But you have to create that relationship. You can't keep going on thinking that you can create your own reality and become your own God. That's what they teach you in those movies that we were talking about. They're trying to teach a whole new generation of children that they can be mighty warriors at, 10 years old. So, and I'm not saying I want to stifle a child's imagination, but it's different. They're trying to teach that you can be a god, right? You can have superpowers, and all the children, like he shoots lightning, and their eyes turn into demon eyes. And that's what they're teaching our children. See, we're living in the short season because everything's upside down and backwards. And it's happening exponentially fast, too. Is the way I see it. And, well, here. Let's go into clickety-click. What's that show? You never understood popular, but I'm assuming you're a woman. No offense, guys. We like watching our comic book heroes come to life. So that's just the way it is. I don't know what the up button is, but keep pressing the like button, everyone. Smash that like button. Thank you. Oh, blessings to you too. Thank you. Much love to you. Michelle Frost. God bless you. So, yeah, praise them and let them go. Exactly. So, and I don't know what Mesa said, but it was hilarious. Shall we look? Here, let's look. Where is it? Mesa. Let's see. My mama used to say, I brought you into this world, I can take you out. She would say, I'll stomp a mud hole in you and walk it dry, boy. That is funny. Okay. All right. Terrifyingly funny, but funny. Yes. Oh, yeah. Holding grudges destroys you. It does. Justine's fading out. Fine. You'll catch the replay. You better finish the show when you wake up. Judge not less. Yeah. And then that's also changed, as you know, that Pushkin Castle. But for God's and your sake, observe. Yeah. But check it out. That passage has changed now. It no longer says, judge not lest ye be judged. It says something like, judge not lest ye not judged. Like it's changing the meanings and stuff. And I did notice, DJ, that you said that the Bible changes really bother you, and I agree. But here's the thing: I have seen that even within the changes, and that's the other thing I really want to hammer home. If you haven't picked up the Bible, I encourage you to read it. But don't be afraid for two reasons. And I find it interesting too. We wake up to the lies of the world and we look for knowledge and truth everywhere. But because, certain people say, don't look at this book, then we don't look at it. But yet you really should at least research like everything else for yourself. Now, I know the Bible's hard to read too. I had to learn how to read Shakespeare. And so because of that, I found it easier to read the King James. But just when you go into the other versions, like they get even farther away from the obviously that we can go on for a day and a half about how everything's changed in it. But here's the way I see it. Just slapping the name King James on it could scare a lot of people away. And so wouldn't that be an interesting trick of the devil? Because why are you putting out a book that's telling people the way to live and then trying your best to hide it from them? Instead, I would think if you're going to have a book that tells people to do the opposite and then make it readily available if you're trying to push the doctrine, why would you create a book only to just then kill people and hide it and tell them not to read it unless there was something to it? And show me another book that consistently matches up to things that we can prove in our past, that consistently matches up to things that are going on right now. Show me another book like that. So then let's take it a step further. Let's say you don't even believe in this book, but I don't see how you can't see with your eyes that are happening right now. The people that are running this world as we know it right now, they're using it almost as a guidebook, as a playbook. So for that reason alone, I would think it'd be beneficial to check it out. But if none of those things somehow resonate with you, just know this. I've been reading the Bible now consistently for at least two to plus years, 3 years. I'm not even sure anymore. But I still find things in there. I still find things that help me on a daily basis. I still find truths in there. I still find the knowledge that I'm looking for in there. Because two things God says. He says that the book can change, because he even says, he admonishes people if they should change the words in this book, he's going to really, he's not going to be happy with them, is paraphrasing. But he also says that the word of God is unchanging. And so the fact that I can pick up a Bible that's been scribbled and changed and changed in formats and languages and Mandela affected, and still find the word of God in there, well, to me, that proves it again. And so, yeah, it's upsetting when I see things that change in the Bible. And like I was reading a passage out of, I think it was Ezekiel yesterday, and he's talking about, picking up your stuff and getting your stuff. And, that's not a word I ever registered reading it. And I've read the Bible multiple times now. I listen to it. Instead of music, I'll put it in my car or wherever I am. It's a great way to just read through it, and you can back it up and read passages. I like that Alexander, whatever. It's like, that's really the only voice I can hear read the Bible now. It's kind of ridiculous. But no, there's all kinds of weird passage changes. I talked about that one. I covered it in my Mandela effect video about God, the Bible changes. It's here, I'll bring it up while we're talking here. It's the one where the gentleman is trying to get into the waters for healing, but he can't get there, and he's on a I remember him on a mat, and he says, pick up your. He touches him. I'm trying to bring up the video as I talk. Multitasking, and not even a woman, so take that. And I'm not doing well with it though. Shoot. There we go. And so he touches him. He immediately heals him, and then he says, "Pick up your mat and walk." And so the way I remember it. But now when you find it, if I can ever find it, I don't know what's going on with my computer here. One of the first things when I was doing my Mandela effect videos, I noticed that, let me get in here, date added, oldest, here it is. And you guys are where? You're on this tab, clickety click. There. Okay. And so I did a Bible passage change video. I'm trying to think what year this was.
The ceiling fans? They're very attractive.
And
another area of discussion was religion.
Well, you guys can watch it, but basically I take this audio and I put my memes to it and clips to it. But it shows how, all the religions are taken over at this point. Where is it? I don't know why I can't find that one. But that's that's where the Pope talks out of that snakehead building. And he talks from this stage. And this sculpture behind him, it's supposed to be Jesus during some nuclear war, but it just looks demonic. And when you look at it really closely, it's actually kind of got a serpent head backwards over here. Yeah, and so that's the most holiest for the Catholic. And when they're trying to get it into a one world religion, which they're lockstep marching us towards, and Van Morrison, I wonder if that was the singer. But yeah, so I covered this where he says the passages will change, and slowly they'll change just like a single word, like we see here, the lion, and then it changes to the wolf, and eventually people get to the point where they don't remember it any other way. And pretty soon, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of wolf and lamb stores popping up all over the world. But it's interesting because, excuse me, the original passage is that the lion lays with the lamb, which is a protector. And now it's changed to, see, the lion shall lie down. And now it's dwells with or lives amongst. And so the wolf walks amongst us. And I believe that's another way that God is allowing these things to change. Because some of us maybe don't watch movies or TV or listen to music or comic books or wherever it is that God's finding you. Then I don't know who's doing the Mandela effect or how it happens. It doesn't matter. You'll never figure it out. None of us will. But it's a supernatural change that God is allowing to happen. And I see it as a way to wake us up, to remind us we live in a supernatural world, even though it's just the natural world. We never knew it. And God exists because things are changing. And so this passage, Matthew 7:1, judge not lest ye be judged. You can pick up any Bible right now. KJV, that's all I know. I haven't read really the other ones. This one I did. See, this was a 1611 KJV, and it was online. But you can find the one in your own house. I don't have mine right next to me. I bring it up. But it now says, judge not that ye be not judged. So that's a weird one. And let's see. This one, too, is interesting because the only reason I knew this, even before I ever read the Bible, I knew this. Everyone knows the Lord's Prayer, even if you weren't reading the Bible or anything. I grew up Jewish. I knew nothing of it. And next thing you know, forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. It now says debts and debtors, amongst other changes. But that one's a pretty big one because that's the main reason I know that was from that. But now you can look at any KJV and it now says debts and debtors. And then this is the one. Now you explain this. And let me see if I can bring this one up. What is that? John 5:8. Let me bring this up. Hold on a second. How do we stop here? Hold on a second, people. We'll go John. Oops. Come on, fingers. John 5. Colon 8. Okay. And we want KJV. Okay. So here is my question to ponder to you all. Go back to this one, clickety click. So when I did my Bible video Mandela, 604 views. Come on, people, get that number up. And more likes, please. But February 5th, 2020 is when I made this. And at the time, I was showing that it said that you could find it everywhere, like I remembered. Arise, take up your mat and walk. Makes sense. But at the time that I did this video, and I brought out, you can even still see it here, barely. But I can't make it any larger right here. But it says couch. You can clearly see the C there. And it says couch. And it's arise and take up thy couch. And that was crazy to me because who carries a couch around? And I don't even believe that they had couches, or at least they didn't call them that back in the day. And so I made this into my video. He no longer says mat. He says couch. Okay? Are you ready? Here's the kicker. If you're to look it up right now, it now says bed. So here's the question. How could I do a video about the Mandela effect of how John 5:8, I remember, said mat, and prove on screen, here it is, that it says couch, but now it's always said bed. So there's one you can see like in real time, that flip-flopping, as they say. Just like I covered the other day, the Houston, we have a problem. It was Houston, we have a problem. Then it went to Houston, we've had a problem. And now it's back to Houston, we have a problem. So that one keeps changing, at least to those of us that see it. But yeah. And then you can find unicorn in the Bible. They pee a lot in the Bible now. This one was wild because God says there's a thing where he's gonna he's talking to Moses, and he's like, hey, if you see me, just like Raiders of the Lost Ark, your face melts. And so that's no bueno. So what I'm going to do is there's a crack here in the rock, and I'm going to put you in there, and I'm going to cover you with my hand, and then I'm going to walk by. And then the next time I read it, it said, and I will take away my hand and you'll see my back parts. So he's saying you're going to see his butt. And again, I always make this comment. I have the humor of a 13-year-old boy. I mean, most men don't grow out of it. And so the first time I read the Bible, and I don't remember seeing this, then my question is, the next time I went through it, because it takes a while to get through this thing, the next time I went through it, this made me stop and, giggle. I'm like, what the hell? He's saying he's going to show him his ass. And I remember saying to my wife, I don't understand. This is even before like the whole Mandela effect was really taking hold. I was like, I don't remember this part. Like I just maybe didn't focus on it or something, but it's weird. And then what happens? The Sistine Chapel, this picture where God is, and that whole thing's changed too, where Adam's finger's higher than God. But here it is, right there. So now it matches up with scripture. Michelangelo actually painted it. And we've gone over this on Jen's channel. What used to be draped right here and you barely saw it, like it's full out moon. I'm getting worried this is draping down a little too low for me. But isn't it ridiculous? It's just complete mockery. There's alien in the Bible 12 times. And let's see, I have this cartoon in here too. This one I thought was interesting. Because he says he'll deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. But then it turns out, no, he's going to deliver you from the noisome pestilence. That's what it says now, which is interesting because the current pestilence, I wonder if everyone turned off their television of how much noise it would make. You know what I mean? But I digress. Bottles are in the Bible, of course, which didn't exist. Matrix is in there. What is this one? What is this one? Oh, okay. So this one's interesting. Now this one bothered me too because I remember reading this, and he's talking about in the day when, when he comes back, and it says, "I tell you in that night." And I had it memorized in my head. There'll be 2 men in the field. One will be taken, one will be left. There'll be 2 women grinding at the mill. One will be taken, one will be left. And now it says there'll be 2 men in bed and 2 women are just grinding. So it's everything's turning totally sexual. And if that's not enough, I found Alleluia with an A once, but Hallelujah, which they say means praise Yah, not there anymore. And on top of that, where is it? Jesus is now advocating murder. There's no way he would have said that in my mind, my reality. And of course, the biggie is he was no longer hung on a cross. He was hung on a tree. So time to put on the full armor of God. That's how I end the video. It's a really good video. You guys should check it out. I'll throw the link in the description in the chat. Oh, where are you? You're one of these tabs. Here you are. Let's see. Paste. Clickety click. Is there anybody still watching me over on Rockfin? Hey, 7 people. Love you all. Psyop within a Psyops over here and me. But good to see you. And lurkers. Thank you for being here. Okay. So what do you think of all that? Huh? Yeah. So. Chris, let's see. What's going on? Yeah, I think planets are in the Bible now. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Getting worried about the drape? The drape. What drape? I'm not sure. This drape is about to fall on me? I hope not. Oh, okay. What else is going on? And Ray's going to talk about something that's too long to explain. Oh, you know what is? There is something I do need to mention about Ray, but man, how many places are you, Ray? You're also here. So I was told that I was a, what was this? Sistine Chapel drape. Still not following the chat there, but love you all. Okay. What are we doing? And Mr. Super Sidewinder is being bad. Okay. Yeah, this one's a weird one, Ryan. I agree. The God himself now kills on Passover. The angel of death never makes an appearance, apparently. So, yeah. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh, okay. We're talking about the Sistine Chapel. I get it. Yes, I get it. Okay. Wow. That was a long way for me to find that, but yes. Okay. What were we talking about? We were just saying hi to everybody. Let's see. Anybody other questions or anything we need to look into? Okay. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting that that one keeps changing. So we'll keep an eye on it. So far, he's had a mat, a couch, and a bed. Is he going to go through like the entire set at IKEA or something, or what? Oh, it was a long way to go for that, but that's okay. All right. What do we have to do here? We still haven't said anything about gold. Let me kill these tabs. Here, that. It always feels good when I can click off tabs, so I realize I have less that I need to cover. Because, that one's, we need to still cover that one. Let's see. I think we're good there. We got the Bible one is out. Okay. So why did I want to talk about gold? Because I came across that, where are you guys? Here you are. Click. Okay. I came across that book and I was fascinated because, well, to start off with, spoiler alert, nobody knows where gold came from. It's fantastic. So that's the first thing. And then it talks about, they say that early man, of course, liked it because it was shiny, like we're a bunch of monkeys. And, but they don't talk about the, where is it? About the uses, like we figure. Like, let's say you could use it for electricity or some kind of tech. When that building melts down, all that gold would flow into some kind of like mother lode inside that mountain of mess of melted bricks or whatever. And then they excavate it. And so that's what you're digging out, I believe. And it's interesting because in this book, it talks about this book of Timothy Green and the world of gold today. And he talks about ancient myths and legends speak of the uses of gold to adorn temples and to offer appeasement to the gods. And he talks about how they look for the Golden Fleece by Jason and the Argonauts, which was a cool movie with the claymation monsters. But he brings up that part of man's search for new supplies. Wait, I think I have here. Did I get this for you all to look at and read along? Maybe I didn't bring that up. Let's see. Clickety click. Talk amongst yourselves here. So we'll bring this up. We'll look for that. And then we need this. We need that. We need that. And let's see. Where'd it go? Here they are. Dang. Sorry, people. Thought I had already pulled this before the show started. It's just one of those things. It's hard to hire good people when you don't hire anyone. Melanie even works for free. Love you, Melanie. Okay. Let's see. Here it is. We'll open this up. Open. Extract. That work? Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Now we can do read along. Isn't that fun, class? Okay. So we'll kill that one. Okay. How do we get off of this page? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I find it. Okay. Here you are. Okay. We're back. We're back, everyone. Okay. Clickety click. I think you can see that. I don't know why it looks blue, but go with it. So, let's see. Actually, I want the next page. So, yeah. So he says, part of a man's search for new supplies of precious metals led to the ancient science of alchemy, as practiced well before the time of Christ until the 1600s. It had its main driving goal, the finding of the Philosopher's Stone. See, it's not just Harry Potter that was looking for it. The object of which was to turn base metals into gold. Charles Mackay, in his masterpiece, well, let's not oversell it. We don't know. Extraordinary Popular Delusions, traces the science of alchemy to Noah. See, everything comes back to the Bible, I'm telling you. Because of his noted long life, it was thought that he possessed the knowledge of the elixir vital, the life fluid, that Shem, check this out, or Chem, the son of Noah, was adept in the art of science. Thus comes the word chemistry and alchemy. Liking that? See how truth just pops out? And then it goes on. Man's search for meaning in science led him to the notion that all metals were composed of two substances, metallic earth and red inflammable matter, which they called sulfur. The pure union of these substances formed gold, and other metals were mixed with other foreign elements. Therefore, the object of the Philosopher's Stone was to dissolve or neutralize all the other ingredients, lead, iron, copper, and transmute them into gold. Masters of science and magic devoted their lives to the search for the secret of the Philosopher's Stone. And they usually had those like red occultist coats probably when they were doing it. For good or evil, interesting they put that in. These men sought to appease their masters. Interesting. Who are we talking about now? And reward their countries with the discovery which would cure all maladies. Maladies. Who is that? That was Dimitri Martin. God, that guy's funny if you haven't watched him before. He said you can make anything sound crazy or creepy if you just add ladies, right? I'm going to the restaurant. Ladies. See what I mean? This is interesting. Anyway. Back to gold. So I thought this was interesting too. Anytime there's a weird story You got to question it. The age of gold ushered in a new standard for the metal or civilization. The United States, of course, was the world's leading gold producer throughout the second half of the 19th century, although gold mining had been traced back to the 1700s when Spanish explorers arrived in Arizona. The great discovery in California set the world in motion. And if it had not been for a carpenter named James Marshall working on John Sutter's mill, the Western land boom would not have occurred. I should have done my dramatic reading. What do you think of that? So, yeah. But another thing that's interesting, and he, let's see, if is it in this one? Yeah. So now you go into, here's another interesting coinky-dink. The same guy that gave us the theory of gravity is also the guy that he was the master, what was it? The Royal Mint Master or something weird like that. And he's the guy that decided in, let's see, where is it? 1717. And he decided how much gold was worth. And it stayed like that for 200 years. And so, and then it continues on to explain how the United States decided to create their own kind of money system. And they did a free circulation of American money at a ratio of 15 3/4 to 1. They set up the first bank in America. Alexander Hamilton recommended the intrinsic value that what you call it, who's this guy? Isaac Newton came up with. See how it's the same, like 10 people every time they're doing the same things. And so then they talk about, again, the Americans, we plundered things and all this and stole a bunch of gold. And I thought it was interesting that they say how they would get it before dynamite is, see, there's the giant workhorses working away. And they would heat up with these billows. They'd like light a fire or something, and they'd use these billows to blow hot air onto the wall, and then they would pour cold water on it, and it would crack, and then they could dig it out easier, supposedly, allegedly. I mean, I wasn't there, neither were you. But I find it interesting that they bring it all the way back to Noah, and because they say, think about it, if you ended up with a breakdown of society, what's a sack of gold going to do for you? Nothing, you know. The basics that you need, what is it they say is food, water, you know, shelter. The things that they say actually that are known in the world to have, where'd it go? It's on here somewhere. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's not there. It's this one. This one. Hang on. Let's see. It's not there. It's not there. All right. I'm not seeing it. But it was good information. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So the great commodities that people, you know, feel that exist, like the big four, and that's dollars, gold, wheat, and oil. And so the benefit of gold is, let's say you wanted to buy a bunch of wheat. If you had like, you know, $300 worth of wheat and you carted it around, it's pretty heavy, but you can have $300 worth of gold and trade it for that wheat. But the problem is, at some point, the only reason that the gold has any value is because a bunch of people got together and said it had value. One of them being Isaac Newton, of course. And so you can't eat it. It can't bring you shelter. It can't do anything for you except you can make it into things. And if we knew how to use the Antiquitect, maybe we could use it to help energize our houses and stuff. It's highly conductive. It lasts hundreds of years. In fact, pretty much all the gold that's ever existed, it's still here. It's such a pliable, malleable thing. You can make it as fine as the hair of your head and make it, stretch out for, I don't know, miles or so. You can make it as flat as the thinnest thing you can get and get a big square sheet of it. And then if you take something and you polish it, the gold flakes that come off of that, you can melt that back and get it back. You can take the polishing wheels and burn them up and get the gold off of them. You can take the liquid that things soak in a cleaner and get the flakes that come off of that and melt it back. So it never goes away. In fact, the only thing I've ever seen destroy gold is mercury, because people would have the old thermometers that have mercury in glass, and they break it, and the little balls would come out, and they're fun to play with as you slowly potentially causing yourself harm. But if it touched the bottom of their ring, it would absorb into it. And then let's say it was a yellow gold ring, it would start turning it like a dull color, like a grayish brown almost. And eventually it would crumble into dust. Now, you probably still could extract the gold from it at that point. But the problem is, if you heat that up enough to get the gold out of it, now you're creating some kind of cyanide gas. And so you probably wouldn't survive, or at least the people around you watching it probably wouldn't if you were wearing something. But, and so literally the only way to fix that was to cut that piece out and send it to a refiner where they have the capabilities, I think, of doing that. But other than that, it's very resilient. It never goes away. It conducts electricity very well. And so, let's see. And when you look at it, here, I'll bring up some of my screen shares here. Clickety click. Clickety click. I found this interesting. They talked about the five types of materials used for bricks. And only one of them was this one called, I thought it was funny, the name, common burnt clay bricks. So that's kind of funny that they even admit that they were burnt or melted at some point. That's the name for them. The rest of these are all composites, sand, lime. These are put together. These are all composites. What's interesting about the clay bricks, now remember, God made man out of dirt, clay, whatever. Everything in this God's earth that I believe, it's with the same components, including, like, we know that we're atoms and electricity and neurons and photons. I know, it's all electrical impulses and stuff. And so, but somehow he has a way of assembling it to get these things. And so the only one on this list that's just clay is the burnt clay bricks. They're only clay and water, and that's it. Mixing clay and water. And so while the ingredients of cement, you've got mostly lime and silica. Looks like some was alumina, magnesia. So a lot of different things to get into cement. And nowadays they actually add blood into it. If you guys haven't read that, check it out. Senex does a lot of work with that, putting blood in the cement. Because why? I don't know, other than satanic purposes. And so then you get the gold. With the gold element symbol AU, which is Latin for aurorum. And then I thought it was interesting, it has an atomic number of 79. Well, when you start looking into these things and you find out that, where is it? First of all, where does gold come from? Well, gold is thought, so here we go. We're just guessing again. But hey, you're in a white coat, so it means more, I guess. Oops, we just lost it. Dang it. There we go. Gold is thought to have been produced in a supernova nuclear synthesis and from the collision of neutron stars, and to have been present in the dust from which the solar system was formed. Well, there you go. You know, I got to get I have one of these. Here, we'll do this.
And now it is time for a dramatic reading.
Okay, I think we're back. I love when I hear her laughing down there. Traditionally, gold in the universe is thought to have been formed by the R process, the rapid muon capture in the supernova nuclear synthesis. But more recently, it's been suggested that gold and other elements have heavier iron. It may also be produced in quantities by the R process in the collision of the neutron stars. Look at that cartoon. How could you argue with that? In both cases, satellites don't exist. Spectrometers at first only indirected the resulting gold. However, here we go. Now they've figured it out. In 2017, the spectroscopic signatures of heavy elements, including gold, were observed by electromagnetic observatories and other big words. And the George W. Bush star, whatever this is, Leo and Virgo, I don't even understand what's going on there. The merger event after the gravitational wave, which are disturbances or ripples in the curvature of space-time generated by accelerated masses that propagate the waves outward the source of speed of light. They were first proposed. See, once again, this guy proposed it too. I'm lost. Doesn't even matter. Because then we go into the asteroid origin theories. Because the Earth was molten when it was formed. Almost all the gold present in the early Earth was probably sank into the planetary core. Oh, we're back on the ball. So there you go. So, according to science, gold comes because we're on a spinning magnet ball, and it grows out of a mountain. Or maybe gold came from God somehow off of Noah's boat. Could it have even been in Adam's original clothing? Everyone fought over that. Nobody, I think, knows where it went. But the original clothing that Adam wore was on the boat with Noah. And his son, I'm trying to think which one it was. I don't think it was Shem, because, but it could have been, because it eventually ended up on Esau. I take that back. On Nimrod. It ended up on Nimrod. And that's why Nimrod was such a mighty warrior until he met up with Esau, who was basically a ginger Bigfoot, who took him to lunch and took him out and not to dinner, right? Monograph. But yeah. And so, but after that, I'm not sure. Maybe people in the chat know where the coat went, or the cloak, but who knows what it had. A lot of the artifacts from the old stories, they're still looking for. A lot of these wars and stuff that we're going through, they're discovering these old artifacts. And, obviously they keep telling us the wars are, at least in America, all of ours have not been for what we originally said. So maybe they're just looking for these things. But you can keep going through this nonsense and where they try to guess how gold came about. But at the end of the day, they can't tell you. But they can tell you is that it's been used throughout history, because not only does it last forever, but I think it did other things too, with energy. And so it's also a way to carry your gold and trade it around and stuff and wear it. So anyways, where are we going with this? And so like when they're going inside these things, maybe they're just digging out whatever got melted here. That's the way I'm seeing it. And this atomic number that gold had in the AU and all that, and it talks about it, and it shows basically it falls on the periodic table. And who's the person that started that? This is Dmitry Mendeleev, and he's the guy that came up with the atomic weight and started creating the periodic table as we know it now. What I thought was interesting about this guy, let's see, is it this one? Is it this page? That's the same one. Oh, here we go. So these are his parents. This alien creature looking guy here. Sorry, I'm not body shaming, but come on. He looks like an alien head, demon head. Where'd it go? Oh, come on, people. What is this? What is that? What's going on here? There's a little tuft of hair right in the middle. Come on. What's this? Anyways, moving on. And he married this gal from, what's that show Jen watches? The with the women and the babies and stuff. I can't think of it. But he married that lady. And what's interesting is when you read about her, she is here. She came from anybody know where's Sarah? Oh, just cool your jets over there, 33. What's the name of that show? Nobody in the chat told me. I was looking over to see if you guys knew. What is that? Whatever. But so you may look at this lady, and her family goes back to, and guess where it ends up? Look at this. They refer to her, his daughters or wife's memoirs. They refer to them as Mongol, Tartar, or Tartarian. Isn't that interesting? So this group of people that are taking credit for owning most of the old world, this word Tartarian, I believe, it's another one to jumble things up. Handmaid's Tale. Thank you, Butt Big Bear. Thank you. Someone's listening. Love you. But yeah, I think it's another, because it's talked about in the Bible. It's not a good place. It's down below. It's in the shale and stuff. Oh, look what happened. See, we're going to have to pause the show because of people like Melanie and Ryan. Here's my sweetheart. Get them all. Get them. Hi, Sarah. Yeah. She's kind of camera shy when I'm on there. All right. Here she goes. We'll play her later. There she goes. See, she's still alive. We'll play her in a second here. But thanks for bringing her up. Where are we at here? Click. This whole Tartarian thing, I believe, is just another word salad magic to try to get us to look at things the wrong way. So I don't use that word, but it's a way that a lot of people are describing those crazy buildings that we can't explain how they were able to do in their day when we still can't do them today. And the fact that so many of them go down below many floors under the ground makes no sense to build half a window. You know what I mean? So something happened, or some multiple things happened. It doesn't mean that it all happened at one moment. But so yeah, the atomic number and all that came from him, and the periodic tables and stuff. But then that guy teams up with this guy, Glenn T. Seaberg, and they form the periodic table together somehow. There's some arguing and stuff. But why is this page so big? There we go. But then where is it? Come on, scroll down. It's on here somewhere. Not this one, not that one. Oh, let's see. Maybe it's this next one. Yeah. So they team up together, and they start trying to prove ether, and they start trying to do it in a artificial way, because they say it's there. I mean, I think that's what everything runs. Obviously, there's some electrical content to this universe, this realm, this whatever it is we live in, the snow globe, whatever. And so they were trying to do it. What do you call it? They were trying to mimic it. And so they did this Michelson-Morley experiment, which no one can ever recreate or do. And then they ended up like proving Einstein's theory, which is still another theory. And I don't know, it just, you can look through it, but everything ends up dealing with medieval things, with talking about mythology, whatever, and a bunch of the same people, always the same people. And whether you can prove the existence of ether or not, or any of this, I found it interesting because when I was reading this section in Corinthians, he basically is discussing like the foot says, because I'm not the hand, I'm not of the body, therefore I'm not of the body. And it says the eye. And so it's like there's multiple parts to our system, to our own bodies. And each one of them do something different. But at the same time, they all do something together. And so that's to me like the explanation of whatever the ether is that we all exist in the same place. And so that energy never goes away. And if it is truly encased in some type of protection, then anything that's ever come down here, unless God allows it out, it's still here, bouncing around in different ways. And so to me, that is that connection that we all have to each other. There's so many synchronicities that happen. It's beyond explanation. I send things. Brian does a lot of Mandela effects on his channel, Dose of Reality. And I sent him something recently. It was a First Amendment auditor that was at an airport. And on the wall, it had a flag the way I remembered it. They had done it wrong. Someone had done art, and it had the red stripe under it. And I sent it to him. And within, I'd say, 15 minutes or so, he sent me an email back that someone completely different was at that airport and had just taken a picture of that exact same thing and sent it to him. So he got him, pretty close to the same time from completely different sources. I don't know what it all means, but the synchronicities that happen amongst all of us in our lives and on these screens and stuff. I mean, anybody that's watching, obviously you've got to have gone through this where you've said a sentence at the same time, whatever you're watching, they say the same thing. It's happened so many times now. My wife and I, we just kind of laugh about it and move on. So yeah, I don't understand how it all works, but we're definitely all connected in some way. I used to be able to feel my father's pain when he was alive, and I'd call him up and say, "How's your foot doing?" And it blew him away that somehow we had that connection. I don't know how. I can't explain it, and I don't need to. I just know it happened. And so, yeah, these guys, it turns out they were all into deism. And when I looked into deism, it starts out sounding pretty good, and then it turns to the Unitarianism. And at the end of the day, I don't know where it all went. This is Isaac Newton again. And remember I told you this guy takes over he's the one that comes up with the price of gold, and he's just everywhere, and he does the gravity, which also helps prove Einstein's theory, which is still a theory, and back and forth. It's just one big giant Masonic club. Let's see. Yeah, he's actually the guy that invented the term gravity, apparently, too. So you got him to thank for that. A lot of greatness from Isaac Newton. Okay, so gold. You with me so far? How are we still doing? We're doing good? Excellent. I don't even look to see the answers. So if you look at what we said, Isaac Newton set the price of gold, right? And remained that way pretty much a couple of 100 years. And then what happened? It's only changed 4 times from 1792 to the present. Okay. So here's what I wanted to show you all. So, that's a different chart. When you guys have a chance, can someone please explain to me what's going on with rhodium? I seem like nobody seems to be watching this metal. It's a metal that's used for plating, but it just seems like to be crazy manipulated lately. I mean, if you go back, a metal that was always in the, where is it? Under $1,000 an ounce. See, 270s, whatever, gets to about 1,000. It kind of stays in the 1,000 range or so through the 80s. It gets a little bit higher, right? And then all of a sudden we start going up. We get up to like over $5,000 an ounce. Then it drops back down. All right, well, maybe it's a bump. But all of a sudden we get to December of 2007, 2008. It goes, see back here, it's got to be like in the hundreds in 2003, 2004. All of a sudden it shoots up to a ridiculous, like, what is that? $10,000 an ounce. And then drops off the cliff back down to under 1,000. And it stays that way pretty much the entire time. And then all of a sudden, boom, another bump in 2019. It goes to 12,000, pops back down to 4. And now look where we are. Like, why is everyone talking about gold and silver? Rhodium is now, what is it, over $24,000 an ounce. Why? I don't know. I just find it interesting. No, I'm not going to allow ads. Where is it? Rhodium. Okay, so it's come down. Where are we at? So, wait, where was that last one? So that shows it at, here, December 2020. It was at $27,000 an ounce, somewhere in there. And now it's bopped back down, and now here we are at 12 to 14,000. What is going on with rhodium? Why are we using it so much? It's very weird. So, okay, enough of that. I find it interesting that God talks about gold, and when he's talking about the desolation of Israel, when one of the judgments is coming, it says here, it says they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. So I find it interesting that, like, the gold's taken away from them. And I'm just curious as to why. I mean, obviously, I'm not probably going to get the answer tonight, but it's happened before. There was the Emergency Banking Act in 1933, and it was supposedly the way that FDR got us out of the Great Depression. And the way he did it was he shut down all banks for like 4 days. What does it say? Beginning, March of 33. In any case, he shuts down the banks. And then they reopen 12 banks that they call are federal banks throughout the United States. And they allow these banks to loan out more. The gold still was like the backing, but they allowed these banks to loan out extra money when other banks couldn't. And so it was kind of the start of sort of the Federal Reserve. And the same people are all over it. I think Hamilton and all those people. And so in addition to that, so now they're selling a money that, again, they're producing more than they own, kind of like we do now. And then right after that, he comes out with the Executive Order 6102, where he made it illegal for anyone to own gold that wasn't the government, with the potential punishment of, what was it? I think it was $10,000 and 5 to 10 years in jail. Now, of course, there were all these exceptions, just like always. And it was probably like the Hollywood and obviously jewelers and things like that. Anybody that could prove they were what do they call those people? the critical people in the moment of trouble. So certain people were still allowed to have it. Customary if it your industry, profession, or art. So jewelers, dentists, sign makers, and etc. So it's whoever they deemed. And what they did was they said you had to bring us your gold, and we were going to give you $35 an ounce. That's what you were paid. And so that's what they did. They did an executive order, and they duped a bunch of people thinking that it was a real law, just like they do now. And they stole all their gold. And so they said gold was worth $20.67 at the time, and everyone got $35 to make it, more enticing. But now they're taking your real money, whatever your real value in gold, and trading it in for their paper dollars from their banks that they say, hey, don't worry. We got you covered. Your money will be safe here. It's nuts. It's amazing to me that it went down and still going down. So let's see. Did I lose that tab? Yeah, I guess I did. All right. Dang. Well, let's move on here. Let me stop this for a second. So yeah, I don't know what obviously is going to happen in this world, but they're definitely gearing things up. I'll tell you what we should do. Let's take a little moment here. I'll show you what I worked on this week. I'll show you Sarah, what she worked on. And then we'll come back and we'll finish more of the show. Does that work for you all? Does that work for y'all? Okay, good. All right. So here you go. Here's your clip of the week.
The ceiling fans? They're very attractive.
All right, I'm super excited because my wife's perfected this recipe where she says they're fudgesicles, but I say they're like a Haagen-Dazs bar. They're amazing.
That sounds amazing.
And so it's a very simple recipe. We're going to have a heaping cup of sugar. We're going to add some milk. We're going to add and high fat, the whole fat. Don't go with the low fat stuff. If you're going to drink it, drink the real thing. You don't even know what they do to cut it and all that.
You examine any object, you question everything.
So, and then we're going to use arrowroot flour, and we're going to add some cocoa to it.
We? Who's we?
Let's get started. All right, so there's the sugar, and it's all going to go into these saucepans. There's our cocoa going in. Adding this in.
Loud noises!
Now we've got the arrowroot powder. Arrowroot powder.
Be very precise.
I wasn't counting how many. You'll have to rewind. And then a little pinch of Celtic salt. And then we're going to add 4 cups of milk. Turn it on.
Medium high or medium low?
Medium low. Okay, so you want to keep stirring vigorously, depending on the temperature and how fast you're stirring. 10 to 20 minutes of vigorous stirring until you get this thickness, almost like a thin pudding.
Oh my God.
I was told I wasn't stirring fast enough, so I got in the extra mixer. That's why she wins all the awards. Wow, you're getting quite a chemical reaction going on there.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Now we're going to pour it in here because we need to get it out so it's no longer cooking. There we go. Now we're going to put it into the mold. So as an inspiration, since we need the tray, we're going to have some that she made last time as we make the new ones. And you might have to wait when you take them out of the freezer because they are difficult to get out of here. You need a lot of hand strength. But if it sits for a little bit or you warm it up a little, they'll come out a little easier. But I haven't come up with a way to get them out really easy yet, but we're working on it. It's still worth it. These things are amazing. Look at this. I got the Willy Wonka bar. I don't even know how she did it. Yeah, still excellent. And then my wife also got these adorable little containers so we can put them in the freezer. Here it goes into the molds. God, it looks good.
The pudding pop.
Bill Cosby.
Oh, shoot.
So we put these lids on it. I'll seal that up. And see, they're all individually separated. And then we're going to put sticks in here. So there we go. You don't want to shove them all the way down because, you want something to grab onto. And then we only had 2 in this one. So now they're ready to go in the freezer. There we go. So now, just shut them in and we wait.
There's another update.
By the way, I thought I would update this video with the most current information I have. We switched to a new type of mold. And so basically it has this as its lid. But the beauty of these are, see the stick goes in like so. But to get these out, you just push and they pop right out. I don't want to take this one all the way out, but see, it comes right out. And that was the big problem I had with the molds that you see at the beginning of this video. So I highly recommend something more like this because those other ones are extremely difficult to say and to get out.
It's time for Ceiling Fan Man and Sarah. And kisses and tacos.
The Black Panther in her den with her red babies. There she goes. The panther starts its prey. Don't eat Mark. No, don't eat Mark. Hi, Mark. Good to see you, Mark. You got some stuff right there.
Leave me alone.
Well, they'll come off in the wash. You get it?
I appreciate every single one of you that are going to be supporting me in one way, shape, or form. Just by either watching my videos, donating.
Satellite tracking continues.
What do you think? Let's see. What do you think? It's good? Yeah, and those things are amazing. They really are. I don't know if I had the exact recipe on there, but if you couldn't figure it out, write to me. I'll figure it out, or I can try to post. I'll try to post it on my channel if you're interested. But yeah, those things are great. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like the more you can create at home, the healthier you're going to get. Even though that's, look, there's sugar in it. There's milk in it. If you ate like all of those in one sitting, it's probably no bueno. Like anything in moderation. But natural things are always going to be better for you. In my opinion, I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. But these are my experiments. And so my experiments are sugar in moderation is a beautiful thing, rather than using like synthetic things, whatever they sell in those different colored pouches. There's a yellow one, a pink one, a blue one. But who knows what it is? It's all different chemicals, and they all have different type of side effects. If you read a sugar side effect, its only side effect is if you indulge too much, then you can cause issues. Oh, and as far as tooth pain, again, don't do what I do because I'm not a doctor. What I did was I took coconut oil. You can buy those big tubs at Costco. And I took a dab and stuck it in my mouth and swished it around for 15 minutes each day and then spit it out. It's not fun to do, but hey, my tooth was hurting. And I did that, and after, I say a month, the pain went completely away. So, but I don't know what I'm doing. Your results may vary. Don't experiment unless you want to, experiment. But don't do as I say. But that's what I did, and it worked for me. Your results may vary. Anyways, I hope you're able to read through all that veiledness that I just did, because I'm so good at it.
That's very true.
But yes, we're in a tight spot.
Damn, we're in a tight spot.
Huh?
How it's none of the business.
I'm not sure what is. But yes. Oh, they want to know what's in the box. Oh, I was told to say it's none of your business, Melanie.
Shut your mouth.
Shoot. Yeah. Fantastic. And look at that. Did you just show up? I know you're in another country, but are you late?
I don't feel dirty.
I don't know. I have to keep an eye on you. Good to see you. Schroeder's cat. Yes, it's Schroeder's cat. It could be. Huh? It could be. Where is he? Here he is. The man that you can type in his channel exactly as you see it on the screen and never find it. It's fantastic. He's the king of shadow banning. He can't even find his own channel when he wants to put something up on the screen. Okay. Okay, what's next? Where'd Joe go? Clickety click. Let's see. We're back. Yeah, I've heard that about Voidage. Yeah. Guy's funny, though. I dig your show, man. A lot of these content creators, they're awesome. Like Ray's on here, same thing. Jen's on here, and they're all on here. I'm missing people that are in the chat. They're all here. But I've teased it. I got to mention it. So here, where's this thing? Are you still here, Ray? I think he's still here. Let's see. We need this one. Here we go.
Breaking news with Ceiling Fan Man. Take it away, Ceiling Fan Man.
All right, here we go. So Boston Ray is teaming up with Christian Knapp, and they formed a band. There's another member too. I forget his name, Freddie, I think. And they formed a band. And I don't know if they're releasing the track this coming weekend, but this week coming soon, I believe. Their songs, they've been doing a lot and working really hard. They're going to do a tour, and I'm allowed to announce tonight.
Breaking news.
The name of the band. And the name of the band is
Breaking news with Ceiling Fan Man.
Levelhead. Huh? Yay! Where is it? Levelhead. I can't wait. Two very talented, apparently. I have not met Freddie, but apparently he is extremely talented. And so I can't wait to hear it. I don't have a clip. I begged, and they shot me down, tossed me aside, kicked me out of the car. They didn't even stop. They did slow down a little bit, and I did a tuck and roll. But no, I can't wait. I'm not allowed to play anything here, but soon enough, we'll be hearing from them. So, yes. So there we go. That's my breaking news. Looking forward to it. There. I hope I did well with that. And but there'll be more coming, and we'll check my channel, Ray's channel, Christian channel. We'll let you all know as soon as we can hear the music, because I'm excited to hear it too. Okay. What do we have here? Let's finish up some of these tabs. So thanks for being with me. I figured, we'll make it a long night if you're okay with that. What do we got here? Oh, you know what? I got to mention something, little PSA for people. So this show, maybe I try to help people too. If you can save up some money and afford one of these things, we got one. I think they're like a couple $100 or so. And I'll tell you something. Not only is it way enjoyable to use a bidet, they're real easy to attach to your existing toilet, just a hose and a plug-in. And you save money on toilet paper, of course. And in the apocalypse, obviously, that's the most important thing. I mean, just look what happened last time. But there's a thing about, I was thinking, what do you have to do when you're in there? Play a game or think about things. So when you look at toilet paper, the thing that we've been, messing on our body for our entire life, the 4 hidden dangers lurking in toilet paper. And so it goes through the things that there's like formaldehyde and BPAs and bleach. And so when you think about one of your most sensitive areas, as NASA says, Uranus, our bodies have healing capabilities. I truly believe that. But the more that we ingest incorrect food or liquids, or get it inside our bodies in other ways, or the more that we put like lotions or creams or soaps with different types of scents, or perfumes or deodorants or sun lotion, tan lotion. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Hair dye, colors, all these things. All those things get into our bodies. I mean, you can go into a pool after you've been in it a while. And when you come out 2 things, you're probably way more than 2. You really got to pee, because we absorb through the pores of our skin, as well as through, the holes that we can see. And these microscopic holes in our body all over, they absorb things. And so for this reason alone, something to think about. If you can do it. If you can't, you know what? It doesn't matter, because if you can't use this paper, I even looked at the alternative paper. How about recycled? The good stuff, the brown paper. It's funny, it's always brown. But no, there's BPA in that, which is, it's again, it is what it is. But other countries, they do it with a bidet. And if you really want to get creative, you get yourself little towels that you wash. Because for anybody that's ever had a baby, you didn't wipe their butt with toilet paper all the time. First of all, it would create an irritation and a rash. So you'd use diapers. Now, I know there's a lot of throwaway diapers, but there was a lot of people that were doing the regular diapers that you had to clean and wash. And so you can do that again too. Everything in our life to make ourselves healthier takes time. And the one thing that they don't want us to have is time. And so we can go to Walmart or somewhere and just already done for us. Fine, that's the way. But just know that you're going to have more issues. But don't worry, because if you get an issue downstairs because of overuse of toilet paper or whatever, they've got a pill or medicine for that at the pharmacy, I'm sure. They'd be happy to help. But instead, we need to find ways to better our lives like this. I can't play the song, but I need to do this for Sarah. Look how happy this cat looks on the Roomba. Is that fantastic? I've got to do this. Oh, my goodness. I never was a cat person, but I'll tell you something. They warm your heart. Oh, I like his little flag there. That's pretty cool. Somebody did some good work on that. Anyways, what's next? Oh, this one. Who just sent me this? Was it Trevor? I think. I forget. But goodness gracious. Look what's going on here. I think this was in Florida where they had the hurricane. Now, who was mentioning a manatee in the chat earlier? Sea lion walking going down the middle of the street. Somebody was it? I think it was Trevor the Roadie says, "Well, I think it's end times. We can definitely say we've got." That's insane. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see what's next. And don't forget the best way to prepare for hurricane season.
Let me be clear. If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated when a hurricane or natural disaster hits.
You got that? So the most important thing that we need to do to prepare is to take it. Bend over and take it. That's how you get out of a hurricane, right? Come on, it is. It's the clown world. This came from Clown World on Twitter. Yeah, Clown World. Let's see. What else we got in this clown show? I love this guy. Memology 101. You got to check him out. I played him before. Let's see. So, yeah, we'll speed it up here.
With regard to Nord Stream 2, we continue to have very strong and clear conversations with our German allies. And
now, for any of you that don't know, because maybe you've tuned out from the clown show, that's why I'm here. I'll fill you in. So, in the current clown show we live in, there's this pipeline that goes between Russia and Europe, and it got destroyed. Sabotage, or as Captain Kirk says, sabotage. You say sabotage. But someone sabotaged it, and we said, I think this was in January.
I'll be clear with you today. If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Okay, so that's what we said, I think, in January about this pipeline. And then in February...
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine.
Okay.
Again, then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
Okay. So now, here's my question I'm posing to the chat. Twice now we threatened to destroy this pipeline that then gets destroyed. And when you look at the rest of the world, wherever it is, Sweden says that they think it was deliberate. Denmark says it's deliberate. Russia says that we did it. No, that's the Polish prime minister, or former one. Here's the video of it throwing stuff all over the, sea floor. My point is this. ABC is right here. If Russia invades, then there will no longer be a Nord Stream. We will bring an end to it. But how would you do that exactly, since the project's in Germany's control? I promise you we'll be able to do that. So we've threatened it. Now, if you were a prosecuting attorney running this case, twice we've threatened to destroy this, and then it mysteriously gets destroyed. And every country in the world, including the United States, says that it was sabotaged. Who else has the axe to grind? I mean, it's shocking to me that we can just straight up say these things, and mainstream media is not covering this. Instead, they're telling you stuff like this. This is another Carl Vernon. Check him out on YouTube. And oops, I always do this wrong. Click on that.
The lessons of COVID are in many ways the same as the lessons of climate change.
So she's saying that basically,
we cannot and will not solve these issues on our own. The next pandemic will not be prevented by one country's efforts, but by all of ours. Climate action will only ever be as successful as the least committed country, as they pull down the ambition of the collective. And that's why on pandemic preparedness, we support efforts to develop a new global health legal instrument, strengthened international health regulations, and a strong and empowered World Health Organization.
Okay, so for all of you that aren't playing along yet, they're trying to bring in the one world order. And they're trying to now say, you think you guys, this was a complete social experiment, what went down the last 2 years, to see how far they could push us, that we would just say, yep, we'll do that. You want us to lock ourselves in our houses and shut our businesses? Sounds good. Let us know when it's safe to come back outside. Well, now that they've done the live exercise, as Mike Pompeo says, now they can go forward with the new program. Because there's things that you're not allowed to talk about on these different platforms, including this one that we're on now. And it used to be about the thing that's been going on for the last 2 years. But now there's two things now it seems like they don't let you talk about. And that's what's going on in the current climate of our world and what's going on over in Russia. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, another plant has caught on fire. I think this was the largest food producer. I think this was over in France. But I've covered this. There's been dozens of these distribution centers that are no longer distributing because they've all been set mysteriously on fire. In addition to that, if this guy were a James Bond villain, and he said...
So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they would...
And again, it's the meat push thing that they're doing. And he even admits that he can't stop eating meat himself.
But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, you know, some people will be willing to, but other people
even
may
himself
be willing to. But they have a weakness of will. They say, "Wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it." I'm one of those, by the way. So you know.
So what does he decide? What does he lets you hear? I'll let him say.
Here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about. So we have these intolerance to. So I, for example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat.
Now, what if he was like Klaus Schwab with the cat and he was petting it, going, "I'm going to ransom this for like $10 billion." In order to get people to stop eating meat, this is what he comes up with.
Kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the long star tick, where if it bites you, you will become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
So through human engineering, they're going to somehow manifest this tick to bite people to make them so they can't eat meat anymore. And that's normal television now or whatever. It's not some weird James Bond movie because we're in it now. So what do they want us to do? They want us to eat bugs and this stuff. And the FDA's decision in December of 2019 about soy logohemoglobin. Sounds like a villain Spider-Man would fight. But that is the main ingredient. It's another thing. Why does people want meatless meat that bleeds and looks like meat? But I digress. But this genetically engineered soy legohemoglobin, where is it? It's responsible for the color, texture, and the taste of the meat. So it's everything. And it's perfectly safe according to the the FDA. In fact, it says here, their response is, the FDA responds, it said it's okay, that Impossible Foods addressed the safety, and it's okay, and everything's cool. Eat your burgers. It's fantastic. And that was the FDA in 2019. And then you get to the article from, what was it, a week ago. And they decided now that the key GMO ingredient could cause weight gain and kidney disease, potentially, allegedly. That's what this article's talking about. So that didn't take long. So, and it even says that they originally refused to sign off on the safety when it first approached. So we can keep reading on the rat study and all this, but regardless, just so you know, they can't make up their mind on this, and yet they know everything else that's good for your health. But keep following what they say, because that's what we're supposed to do. And don't worry about the fact that the majority of the United States seems to fall in the either fat or obese categories in a lot of aspects, when this gentleman back in the 1890s was considered a circus freak show. And so the food and the choices that they're giving us nowadays are drastically affecting all of our lives. And the only way out of it is to try to be more self-sufficient on everything that you do. But I know that takes time. And so you need to somehow ink out more time. That's one of the hardest things. That's why they get you working from cradle to grave with never being able to take a moment to get your breath. It's because they don't want you to know that. So, and then we end up in this clown show. Now, this is a First Amendment auditor, and I couldn't believe what I saw in this one. Who is this, by the way? Somebody named Big West Audits. My wife was playing this one. But this is the part that blew me away. Is he's in a police station when he suddenly finds, where is it? This vending machine. Look at this vending machine.
What the heck is that? Because that does not look like no snacks.
And it's an opiate thing that Narcan, that if you've overdosed, you can take this and it's supposed to start your heart again. And it's a vending machine where you can get 4 milligram nasal sprays for free.
To reverse an opioid overdose.
So that's how far we've gone in this system, is that our society is so broken. We just throw more drugs at people to get them away from the drugs that cause their sickness in the first place. It's drugs after drugs after drugs. It's sad. And out here in Seattle, they started a program where they had a register. I don't know if they still do it, but they had a registered nurse at a place that you could go and shoot up safely so that she'd be there in case you needed to put this in you. It's against everything that a nurse would possibly ever agree to. And yet some of them are signing up for it. It's sad. It's a sad statement of our society. And speaking of a sad statement of our society, here's one of my favorite handlers. Remember I said we come full circle and talk about this guy? He's not up there shooting down that asteroid. Nobody is. But he no longer is doing movies. They say he has a form of dementia, Alzheimer's. But whatever's going on with his character, he's now sold the rights to his character to that technology they always warn us about, the whole deep fake thing. And so now he's licensed his face to be put in movies. It's called deep cake. Movies, TV, commercials, So you might see Bruce Willis again, but you're going to see him just as a face on someone else in this technology that they've been telling us about, that they've had forever, and now they're just straight up putting it in our face. And there was a movie when I was growing up that was called, let's see, do I want any more of these? Got so many of this opened up. But there was a movie that, we got to cover that. That's what we need to cover. All right. Well, there was a movie that called Looker, and it was about where they would, they had something that they could like flash in your face, and then you'd just be frozen in time, and then they could, clean up the room, do whatever they had to. And, but the main thing is they were taking people's personas, their face, through scans and stuff. And then they could create movies and TV and commercials, and the person was never there. It was all just artificially created. And that was a movie in the 80s talking about something in the future. And here we are. And they're straight up telling us that they're doing it now. So they tell us about deep fakes. None of us ever even knew about it because they wanted to show you that they're going to start doing it. So then you won't even know who you're watching. Is it a politician? Is he real or not? Is the actor real or not? It's more just smoke and mirrors from the magician. But this one real quick, I just wanted to show. This lady was having a problem with her squirrel climbing up her feeder. And so she put oil on it, like vegetable oil. And it's just, I don't know, it's hilarious. Let's see it again. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. These are the things that make me laugh. What else we got here? Oh, this one's really interesting. I'll throw this in the chat. Copy link. Where are you guys? You guys are over here. I'll throw that. Where are you? Comments. Paste. There's that one. And then if there's people still over here on Rockfish, I'll throw it in there. And he went over some interesting theories about what do you call it? Resonance, frequencies.
So Dr. Otto Warburg did.
I'm not going to go over all right now because I don't know how people are on their stuff, but check it out because he goes over about how he talks about how there's a salamander and they can grow new limbs and pieces, other body parts and stuff, and deals with frequency. And he goes over how it showed that they did the same experiment to the frog and he didn't do it, whereas the salamander does. And it's pretty interesting. So anyways, I threw that in the chat. That's what I spend my time on, looking for cool things in these different platforms. This one was sad because it's a channel called Lackluster. It's a good channel. But this guy, he basically was drunk driving. Oops, where'd it go?
I appreciate.
He was drunk driving. He crashed his car into a cemetery. He told the cops that he wasn't driving the car because they found him walking. And he said his cousin was driving it. And then they tried to reach the cousin. The phone number was the same as his number and his birthday. Basically, the whole story was obviously a lie. And you come down to it, what happened? This guy was, and he admits to it later too, he was driving drunk. He crashed his car. He fled the scene and he lied to the cops. And the reason he went and he gets no jail time and he walks away from it is he's also a cop. And so they eventually decide to just forward all the information on to this guy's commanding cop or whatever. Whereas the rest of us, well, hopefully we weren't driving drunk, but if any other human crashes into a cemetery driving drunk and flees the scene, and then when is picked up by the police and lies to them, he'd be facing multiple charges. But not this guy. Thin blue line. Sad. And then for my wife, I found this. I can't play the Barry White, but she always says that she'd like one day to maybe get a Jeep. I found this couple. They have a ranch where they grow Jeeps, and this is the mating. And so as soon as they produce a new Jeep, I will let her know. That's a joke. This is just two cars fighting it out to see who has a smaller penis. And that guy's truck won. Okay, what's next? We talked about DART. This was a good video someone sent me, Kenneth Cram, because he's another person that goes, and looks at, well, what I see are melted buildings, but I mean, you can see, it's just amazing, some of the visuals that you see in this. And I highly recommend, if you're into that and looking for this stuff, it's a fun little walkthrough. And then at one point I think he makes lunch out here and stuff. Yeah, you can watch him eat lunch. I skipped through most of it when I was watching it, but it's just pretty amazing, some of the sights of the things. I mean, it looks right out of the flint stones, little buildings and stuff that you can see. Those look like cactus, and those look like birds. But anyways, it's a cool little video, and I'll throw it in there. Most likely, I think I've already sent it to Jen, but just in case she's here, she can grab it from this chat. Those weren't Jeeps, they were posers. Oh, sorry. You're right. Maybe not. It's just, you know what? It was for the joke. Okay. Sometime I take a poetic license, and it might not be the actual car, but for poetic license.
I don't care.
Oh, shoot. Let's see. Way more possible than the dinosaurs. Yes, exactly. And yeah, he's a cop. That's that happened with that other guy. Yeah, okay. Where are we at? Anything else? Let's see. And where are we at? And you're behind on the actual show. I'm having a deja vu moment. How irritating. And now you'll have another one, right? And I'll bring this up again, just to mess with you. Pushkin Castle. Okay, let's see. So did I throw that one in the chat? I forgot if I did. I did. Okay, I did. All right, so we got that one. And then for those of you that don't know, Jen's channel, am I still screen sharing? I think I am. Yes, I am. The True Seeker 69, but she's got this cool video because John Levi, he did a real nice talk up on a lot of the
called Truth Seeker 69 Original had proposed that this may have been the Tower of Babel.
Because she's got a lot of good information on this, and it matches up with some of the stuff that he looks into. Some really good stuff on here. And
plasma.
Let's see, where is it? Question the narrative, yeah. Because this was an interesting thing. He talks about Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii, because Jen's covered it about how there's even maps that show it as a building. And when you see where Mount Vesuvius is and where Pompeii and the people actually died, it'd be like if the volcano
cooked this little part of the town,
just shot out a big glob and just did it here. Like, it's really weird because it's the only place on Earth that you see, whatever this. Where is it? I can't even find it now. This kind of stuff, So I don't know what's going on here, but everything else is not as they've told us. And when you look at the pictures of, let's see, how do I do this? I messed it up last time. Click here, get rid of that. Get this. Click on. Well, let's start with this one. Click. This one, and this one. I mean, these different depictions of these buildings. Because there doesn't necessarily have to have been only one Tower of Babel. There might have been one Tower of Babel, but I believe there was multiple buildings, Tower of Babel-esque. There's so many different depictions, artist renditions of these towers. Let's see. So, and there's multiple references in the Bible of not just one event of the Tower of Babel, but multiple cities, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah and other cities that God's gone through and destroyed. So it doesn't have to be one gigantic event, but the people were drawing these amazing etchings. I mean, this is the opening of the sixth seal. And once again, what do we see? Like a volcano kind of ish mountain thing, and lightning is striking it. And because we don't know what God's wrath is. God forbid you ever experience it. So we can't say, oh, you wouldn't have enough temperatures to melt this brick. No, look at these. There's obviously a Tower of Babel here, another whatever these things are called, Jen knows. And then there's something else going on up here. And these cities were massive. That's the other thing we don't understand, that how well connected they are, these, the Babylon cities. How do we go back? Look at this. And this is from that old Bible that I have. There's one story that I think it was Jonah, and it took him days to walk through the city that he was supposed to warn. This is the Temple of Solomon, and this thing goes way back and into the hills and stuff. And if this stuff all melted, I mean, it's so easy for me, I think, to see. And so, like, the Tower of Babel was only mentioned once in Scripture, and at that point incomplete. It was built of bricks, and the slime used for mortar was probably bitumen. Such authorities were as we let's see, and then let's see. The predominant opinion was in favor of the great temple Nebo at Borsippa. The modern Burz Nimrod sounds like Nimrod, but they can't even say that was the tower itself. And it may have just been the shape and character. The building appears to be sort of an oblique pyramid, built on a platform of crude brick, raised a few feet above the level of the alluvial plain, built of burnt brick. Interesting. The first basement stage is an exact square, 272 feet each way, 26 feet. Anyways, you guys can read all this. But I think there was probably multiple buildings that resembled the tower. That's the way I see it. It's not all my pictures. I think so. We covered all those. But yeah, these are just massive. And so we can cover Russia here in a second. Oh, one other thing. Paul Enslaved. If you guys haven't watched him, he's putting out some really interesting shows lately. I like to have him on the background. He's kind of fun to listen to. But if you've watched on my channel, if you haven't seen it, go look for a video on my channel called Soap. It's where I described, for those people that don't understand what's going on with the that letter in our alphabet. Let's see. That would become between what, P and R. Anyways, so he's got a whole routine that he does where he talks about trusting the plan for, I think it's Donnie Chimp. And he what is it? Make America Ape Again. And I don't know. It's just, if you read any of these things, because at the day, a long time ago, I bought into this nonsense for a while. But there's no man that's going to save you. They all work for the same team. There's a left wing and a right wing, and it's on the same bird. It's a bird of prey, and it's feasting on us. And so God says, no man's coming to save you, and not even the orange man or the chimp man. So yeah, don't wait for that moment, because that's not happening. But here's what is happening. I did want to cover this before we get out of here tonight. And it was a thing that happened that I read. And again, everyone do their own research. I don't speak Russian, but I'm sure that Putin's speech is out there. But it just happened. And if you read, this came from someone named Konstantin Kizin. And this person supposedly did a breakdown of what he said about us in the West. And here, I'll throw this in the chat so you guys can read through it. And then also, look through it and tell me, or somebody read the actual speech by Putin and tell me if this is, a close representation. But regardless, this is the way I see it. It's still being put out there in the ether, let's say. And here's what he basically says in a nutshell, is he goes over all the things that we cover, or at least I cover on this show, about how we've been the aggressor our entire lives. We've occupied or invaded almost every single known country in the world, except for a handful. And we've done it because we're protecting freedom. And yet the rest of the world sees us as an aggressor, an invader. He talks about, he talks about nonsense. So he obviously listens to my show because I use that word. No, I'm kidding. Or am I? But he talks about that we're racist against Russia and other countries. He talks about how we started the global slave trade and genocided the Native Americans, pillaged Indian Africa, forced China to buy opium through war. And the sad thing is I was having trouble arguing with any of the points that's in this, because we did all these things. And then he says that the West claims to bring freedom and democracy to other countries, when he says it's a lie, that we've used nuclear weapons. They flattened German cities without any military need to do so. We occupied and attacked Korea, Vietnam. We attacked Japan. Goes on and on. A lot of bad things that he says about us as the United States. When I say us, he says the U.S. rules the world by the power of the fist. And then he talks about how we have propaganda, God forbid. And he goes on and on and on. It's pretty brutal. But at the end of this is he says this is, he even gives us crap about this. They inverted genders and claim you can transition. Do we want this for our children? We have a different vision, says Russia. They have abandoned religion and embraced Satanism. That's a direct quote. So the world is going through a revolutionary transformation. A multipolar world offers nations freedom to develop as they wish. As they make up the majority of the world, we have many like-minded friends in the Western countries. We see and appreciate the support. They are forming a liberation, anti-colonial movement as we speak. A direct quote. These will only grow. We are fighting for a fair world for our country. The idea of exceptionalism is criminal, and we must turn this shameful page. The breaking of the West Homogeny is inevitable. There's no going back. We are fighting our great historic Russia. Our values, our love of our fellow man, compassion and mercy. And he says Russia is with us. Okay. So here's my takeaways. They hate us. I think it was Rocky. Started with him in Rambo. But regardless, the sad thing is I can't dispute the things he said in that article. By our own admission, we've done a lot of horrible things throughout the world, all in the name of the United States Corporation of America, because it is a corporation. And ever since you were a child, they indoctrinated you in that camp they called school. They showed you a globe and said, this is where you live. Don't ask any questions. And they stuck a piece of cloth in your face. And they asked you to do something that God said not to. And that was to pledge your allegiance to their flag. And our brothers and sisters and children and loved ones have been fighting and dying for that flag and for this country and for the causes that we thought were virtuous and righteous. But when you look at the stories, how we're not Mystery Babylon, it would be shocking to me. And Mystery Babylon gets a lot of the wrath because they're the reason a lot of this nonsense is still continuing on throughout the world. And so if God's judgment is coming, whether we're at the beginning of Revelations or whether at the copycat version in this short season of Satan.
Sorry. Pizza.
God's wrath is coming to people that refuse to acknowledge him, that deny him, that rebel against him, that accept a world where there's pain and misery and strife and trafficking and abuse and rape and death and murder. And we turn our eyes, we look away like it's not happening. And so what's his alternative? He keeps saying, hey, look at your ancestors. They did this too. And there's only so long that, that's the thing. He's loving and he's patient and he's forgiving. But at some point, he's going to say, okay, you don't want any of that. I'll have to wake you up a different way. And so do I want any of this, whatever this is coming to come? No. Do I want this world to continue the way it's doing? Absolutely not. They're destroying the future of our children. And if we can't turn it around, well, then hopefully God will be back soon to fix this. Because I'll keep fighting as long as I have breath in me. And I'll keep doing this show as long as I can get it up on the air. But, yeah, I can't sit back and do nothing. As Jen says on her channel every time, let it not be said that we did nothing. And I won't do that. I'll do whatever's in my heart, and I'll follow God's path wherever it takes me. Because at the end of the day, he said he's watching over us, and he's protecting us, and he knows who we are. And I found this passage that I'll close out with. And it's right here. Excuse me. It's a long night of talking. Okay. Well, first of all, this was a good one, James 1:6. Because for those of you that are struggling with faith, you have to. It's not a gentle step off the curb. It's a leap of faith. You've got to meet God part way. He's waiting, but you've got to meet him. And then you can't just go there looking with one eye open, didn't see anything, and walk on and say, well, that didn't work. It's a relationship he wants with you. And so I'll leave you with this out of this Bible. And it's from one of the Acrophilies. I don't know how to say that. It's the missing books, but it's in this Bible. And it says, be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness comes, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord. My hand shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell. Be joyful, O thou mother, with thy children, for I will deliver thee, saith the Lord. Remember thy children that sleep, for I shall bring them out of the sides of the earth, and show mercy unto them. For I am merciful, say the Lord Almighty. Embrace thy children until I come, and show mercy unto them. For my wells run over, and my grace shall not fail. And I, Ezra, received a charge of the Lord upon the Mount Oreb, that I should go into Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandment of the Lord. And therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd. He shall give you everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand. That shall come in the end of the world. Be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Flee the shadow of this world. Receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. Oh, receive the gift that is given you, and be glad, giving thanks unto him that hath called you to the heavenly kingdom. In the name of Jesus Christ, I wish all of you wonderfulness, blessings, love, and health. We'll make it through these times together. By the grace of God, we'll make it. And by the grace of God, I'll see you again here next week, okay? All right. I love you all. I'm tapped out. You get this?
Class is dismissed.
All right. Stay strong, and we'll make it through together. I'll see you around the playground. God love you all. Now you can talk amongst yourselves in the outro. Have a great night. God bless.